Hi, hello, howdy. Um, okay, scuffed there. So, oh boy. Hi Ori. So yeah, I don't even know where to start. I got this idea for this stream after watching I was watching Jenny Nicholson all night, and she was reading her old fanfics, and I was not her old. She was just reading weird Wattpad fanfiction, and I was started thinking about my own fanfiction. Please, I'm interrupting myself here. Please tell me if my microphone sounds good. I'm not 100% sure about if it might be too quiet. Um, so yeah, I have. Thank you. Hello, Rosie boy. Um, so yeah, I was thinking about all my old fan fiction, and I was rambling about it on my prep Twitter, and I was realizing I need to just do something where I go and specifically read and talk about all this stuff because it's so just bizarre, and I so many just random anecdotes about it. So I wanted to do something with it. So get rid of this, and I already have a Wattpad open. So on my Wattpad, there's only a few things that are actually publicly visible, but there's a lot more that is that is hidden. It's not published. It says published here, but there's a lot that don't. So there's drafts and stuff that either I never published or I put out and then at some point privated again. This stuff is so yeah, basically this is all stuff I wrote on Wattpad when I was this is pretty much all Mindcrack fanfiction. There's a bit of crossover with other stuff, but it's all Mindcrack. So yeah, there's first off there's this is sort of this story ribbon. It was sort of like my magnum opus. And it was it's my one finished multi-chapter fanfiction. So I guess we'll start off with this. It is insane. This is the one with this is the one that the gore and shipping warning is for most. So first off, let's read this description. Oh my god. There's a phrase that was repeated in time like a There's a phrase that was repeated like a broken time block. It was said by both those who knew its consequences and those who didn't. There's a lot you don't know about Minecraft. I'm surprised someone like you hadn't found the truth about this place already. This already makes no sense. Yet number 4 never. I don't know why. It's like this. When Ari is given something in every version. Oh my god. When Ari is given something in every version of time, things start to fall apart much quicker than they were meant to after the first time around. R1 would be the last one. One second, I'm gonna do pop out chat so I can have it, or I can see it better. Get closer over here. And then have the other stream stuff. Just organizing stuff on my second monitor, don't mind me. So yeah. R1 would be the last one. And then, this is the fanfiction. It is no way an accurate representation of the Mindcrackers. This story is not meant to hurt or offend anyone. Jesus Christ. Young teen me, that doesn't mean it won't. It doesn't matter. Okay. Unedited. There'll be occasional mistakes and errors. So yeah, I checked the publish dates inside it, when I went and edited the stuff in it, and once I finished it, I went back and fixed and edited the first few chapters, but I just kind of stopped halfway through, so half the chapters aren't edited at all. And then the cover is by Seethoverse. They don't go by that now, but yeah, they were one of my friends. I don't know if they'd want me to say their name now, because we're still mutuals on social media in some places. But yeah, they made this cover for me. They wrote what at the time was the most popular Minecraft fanfiction on Wattpad. So yeah, let's And yeah, they made like edits and stuff. Let's see. Let's go. Continue. Oh god. I'm gonna take a look at these comments as well, because like, oh boy. Prologue, R81. One moment. Sorry, I need to adjust stuff. Okay. Ribbon, a Minecraft fanfiction. Okay, this is very short. Aurelian was heading home after a long yet unsuccessful mining trip. She hauled her bag of mostly coal up to her door. Wait, is Wattpad trying to get me to share on Facebook? Wait a second. Why would I share Wattpad? Why would I share this on Facebook of all places? Hello? Okay. There was a note attached to her door and a lavender ribbon next to it. The note read, "Dear Ori, I have this gift just for you. Enjoy." Ori smiled. It seemed she had a secret admirer. What? Okay. She took she took the ribbon and tied it in her hair, putting up her hair. I said that tight. Her hair, in her hair, putting her hair up in a ponytail, yet still having one end of the ribbon fall down to her waist. I think this first like part was written in when I was like 12 or 13, maybe 14, probably 13. As she picked her bag back up, the ribbon seemed to flow in the wind, even though there wasn't the slightest breeze in the area. Boy. I actually have a lot of art of this fan fiction. I should have like went and looked for that before I started reading it. Okay. Let's look at the comments. This is, does the person who gave her the ribbon matter at all? And there's, okay, my reply in 2015 is maybe. Okay. Okay, this is where 17 comments, dear god. Chapter 1, Unscheduled Attack. What a chapter name. Oh boy. Ari was working on beautifying her orange and gray box of a base, replacing all the cobble with pink clay and why is this italicized? Why is this italicized? And attempting to vary the shape. Hey, Rel. Okay, I'm not even gonna try and do character voices. I don't barely remember what Vex's voice sounds like. Vex waved at Ori from across spawn. Hi, Vetches. Ori waved back. As Vex got closer, he froze. Is that even how you spell Vex correctly? Is that even how you spell Vex correctly? I need to look this up. Okay, yes, that is. For some reason, I thought there was an E right now. Okay. As Vex got closer, he froze. He took one look at Ori and ran. Okay. Vex, what's wrong? Ori shouted as he ran away. Vex wasn't wearing his helmet. What? This is completely irrelevant. Ori shook her head and went back to building. He was probably just messing with her. She would talk to him later. After Ori finished up with her building, she went to the center of Spawn Town. She spotted Paws and Beef arguing. No, we don't need to bring 15 extra bags of marshmallows. Besides, even if we do run out, it's not like Goodland is that far from Spawn. Beef told off Paws, his eyes on a large bag full of bags of marshmallows. Oh god, jeez. Oh, okay. Oh god. Oh, sorry, I'm just... Oh god. Okay. What will we do? Paws said, with a mouthful of marshmallows. Well, we're not even going to have any to roast tonight if you eat them all. Exactly, Paws exclaimed after he swallowed. Why did he say that? That doesn't make any... Okay. Hey, Ethos stepped in. How about we all just stop arguing and realize pause is right, and you basically just countered your argument. No, pause is not right. What? What? Well, pause said made no sense. Okay? He smiled at Beef. Hey! Beef shouted and chased after Pause and Etho, who laughed as they grabbed the bag of marshmallows and ran toward Goodland, spilling quite a lot of them in the process. Ari realized she had totally forgotten about the campout at Goodland. She quickly ran up to Good, who was looking at a list with Nebris and Sevidus. Ori, I love the Wilbur emotes. Oh, those are great. Oh, okay. Anything I can do to help? She asked. I completely forgot about the campout. Yeah, Good said, not even turning to look at her. Go to Pyro and get the marshmallow tong things he took for something and never gave him back. Okay. Right on it. She headed down the path towards Pyro's small home. Oh my god. Sorry, this is like it's like pretty mundane, but it's just still just like, oh my god, this is so bad. Oh, and I was like so proud of this at the time. Like, it's not, god. Like, I'm not saying like for the time this wasn't that bad, but still, like, oh my god. Later that day, right before Ari was to grab her things and head to Goodland, she looked in the mirror and noticed something. The ribbon had fallen out from her ponytail, yet it was still hanging as if it was attached to her. Oh yeah, Ori, it gets there really fast. I think it happens in this first chapter. She lifted up her hair, expecting the ribbon to fall out, but it didn't. She looked more carefully to see that the mysterious ribbon had attached itself to the back of her neck. Ari's eyes widened, and she started to yell as she attempted to yank it out. It wouldn't come out. She did the first thing she could think of and took off for Vex's home. She frantically knocked on the door until he opened it. God. Vex, Ori huffed, out of breath. Vex just stood for a second, processing the situation before shaking himself back to reality. Oh. Come in quick, he said, and shut the door behind them. I lost my place. He took out his sword. Stay still. He looked around, and then sat Ari down and put one hand under the ribbon, the other holding the sword. He was about to cut the ribbon off. When Ari heard him gasp, she suddenly turned around to see that the ribbon had wrapped itself around Vex's neck. Get off of him! Ari screeched at the ribbon, and then watched in horror as it pulled itself tighter around Vex. Oh my god. Oh god. I'm getting like a bit lightheaded. I need to like drink some water. Oh my god. One moment, I check something. Okay. Oh my god, okay. She leapt at him and grabbed the sword from his hands and attempted to cut the ribbon in half, yet she suddenly found herself paralyzed, unable to move as she watched Vex struggle for air. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll be fine, he managed to get out. All Ori could do was scream and cry, hoping that one of the other Mindcrackers would hear and come to save them. Tears streamed out of her eyes, and Vex fell to the ground. This escalated so quickly. Vex fell to the ground, his eyes rolling back. Ori couldn't even make a noise anymore. as if something was controlling her. All she could do was look through her tear-filled eyes as the ribbon continued to strangle Vex's lifeless body until his head was Oh God! Until his head was popped from his shoulders. Not exact. Hey, Ori says, "Hey, is respawning a thing in this fic?" You'll see. The ribbon retracted, and Ori was able to move, but not before she heard a voice in her head. It was her own, yet with a menacing tone she herself had never used. He deserved to die. He was so mean to you. They all deserve to die. Dear God. Ori ran over to Vex, tears streaming down her face. She grabbed his body, sobbing, as the ribbon seemed to drowse itself in the growing puddle of blood on the floor. Dear God. One moment. There's 9 people watching this. Who are y'all? I can't see the list of viewers. I don't have that thing up. Okay, next part. Soon, it had become dark outside, and Ori found herself flung upwards and forced towards the center of spawn. She spotted BTC, who was dragging a bag towards Goodland. Hi, Lunar. It looked like everyone else was already there. She wasn't able to speak as she was pushed closer toward him. He waved at her, but stopped when he noticed that she was covered in blood. Blame slowly backed away as she came closer, dropping his bag in the process. The ribbon shot out towards him. "Run!" Ori screamed, but it was too late. Just as BTC had turned and started to run, the ribbon had split into two and held his arms behind his back. "Let go of me!" No, it's Blame "Let go of me!" Blame gritted through his teeth. I don't remember what BTC sounds like at all either. Blame gritted through his teeth. The other half of the ribbon grabbed a small dagger he had been hiding in his pocket and held it in front of Ori, who was now unable to move. The ribbon wrapped itself around BTC, who was shouting in more of an angry tone than a scared one. "Get rid of it!" Ori shrieked, not wanting to witness another death. "Blame, get rid of it! Don't let it hurt anyone else." Ori managed to break from the control of the ribbon. "Blame, it killed Vex! Blame!" She yelled as she shoved the knife away from her face and ran to BTC. She screamed as she attempted to pull the ribbon off of him. Then Blame's pupils shrunk suddenly, and an echoing crack was heard all around Spawn Town. Yet Ori was the only one to hear it. Blame was dead. The ribbon took control over Ori once more as it ripped open BTC's body and let his blood flow all over the ground. Oh my God! Then Ori was forced towards Goodland. Blame's mask lay ripped from his face on the ground next to him. What? I wrote this when I was like 13 or 14. What the hell? Oh my God. Ori, I don't know what that emote says. I can't tell what it says. Oh my God. This is the first chapter. Crime time. Okay, yeah. Oh God. Okay, let's look at these comments. Oh my God, I wouldn't be grabbing the body. I would be running away, XD. A bit dark. Very dark. And then, well, yeah, of course, Pyro never gave it back. Look at his name. He was using it for evil scheming. And such a team candidate thing to do. And I'm not laughing anymore. Blame. No, blame. Blame. Oh my God. Oh, and then No, Vex, why? Yeah. Fourth wall. Where did I break the fourth wall? Okay. And then, no, you killed two of my fave Minecrackers. You have just only begun the story. Remind me to never put a ribbon in my hair. Oh god. There's 2 replies here. Oh my god. Yeah, I would have been 13 here. Oh my god. Oh. These comments. Oh my god. Evil child moments. Okay. Oh, okay. Chapter 2. Flee from the fire. Okay, yet another amazing chapter name. Yeah, perfect for 13-year-olds. Yeah, Jag. Hi. Alright. Is that Ori? Pause asked, looking down the path to spawn from the area of Goodland that the Minecrackers had set their camp in. Well, unless Vex or Blame are wearing dresses, Doc chuckled, watching Ori as she came into view. Vex would do that. No, he wouldn't. Vex is a fucking horrible transphobe. He would not do that. Beef rolled his eyes before popping another marshmallow into his mouth. Yeah, Vex is like a horrible person. I didn't know this back then when I wrote this. Neither of them would. They're both Vex and Blame are like horrible people. Well, not really sure about Blame. I actually don't know what he's up to, but okay. Okay, help! Run! Ori fell down as she neared the group by the campfire. The realization was so intense, yeah. Yeah, Vex is not a good person. Alright, you okay, Ori? MC questioned, raising an eyebrow. I'm fine, Ori growled. Wait, I'm fine, Ori growled in a tone none of the other Minecrackers had ever heard her use, and she was stood up like nothing had happened. Paz was the first to notice that she was covered in blood and screamed. So they didn't notice she was covered in blood until Paz screamed? Okay. The ribbon split and sped toward him at an insane speed. From the corner of her eye, Ori saw someone behind the corner of a building. Even though all the Minecrackers were right in front of her. Ooh, mysterious. Okay. Hey! He yelled. I'm actually amazed that I actually planned that plot point far ahead enough to actually put that in there. Like, as far as I remember, I just like wrote each of these chapters with no planning. Okay. Hey! He yelled. Who yelled? Pause? I guess? Who yelled? Because it's not the person behind the building, because that wouldn't make sense, because I know who this person is. I remember who they are. But hey, he yelled. Then the Minecrackers, but Paws, were flung in different directions, Nebris into a wall, knocking him out. Kurt and Michael into a large window, covering them both with shattered glass. Beef, Good, and Arcus into the nearby river. Is there even a river near Goodland? Okay, there is, but there's a river near Goodland in this. No, wait. This takes place in season 4. I don't remember. The fact that dialogue ends in periods instead of commas. Yeah, I didn't figure out that rule until years later. Okay. Alright, where was I? Grass surrounding them. More lavender-covered ribbons shot out from the back of Ori's neck, splitting into too many to count. One grabbed the tong with Paw's burning marshmallow from the ground and dropped it on his head. while another picked him off the ground. Even more ribbons lifted Ori into the air and created a cushion for her to sit on a few feet from the ground. One held BTC's dagger right in front of Paz's face as the fire slowly spread across his hair. He squirmed and shouted, attempting to get away. Meanwhile, the voices were playing in Ori's head. Give in. You're useless when you try to push me away. Let me make you powerful. Let me make you powerful. Let me give them revenge. The ribbon had gained almost full control of Ori. She felt so much pain, seeing the terror that she was powerless to stop. She yelled one more word before giving in. Run! Then she answered the voices. All the emotions of distress faded. She might have given in, yet she was no longer in pain. Ori watched, tears in her eyes slowly evaporating as she watched. Ori watched as she watched. As she watched the Minecrackers run away. This is one of the chapters I edited too. Oh, dear God. As the Minecrackers ran away, and Paz's terrified expression as the fire creeped closer. Creeped closer? It's already on his, in his hair. She looked down and spotted Kurt, who had managed to mostly protect himself from the glass with his thick trench coat, was helping Michael get up. Sorry, 1 second. It's really cold in here. I'm gonna turn my heater. Sorry, just really cold. Alright, yeah. Thick trench coat was helping Michael get up. Anders had grabbed Nebris from where he had been knocked out, and all of them were helping each other as they attempted to get away. Ori frowned, as Nebris was wearing an oddly happy smile for someone who had their head bashed against a rock-hard wall. He's knocked out. Shouldn't that be what they're more concerned about? Why is he smiling at all if he's knocked out? I know the reason this is happening, but they think he's knocked out. Okay. And all of them were helping each other as they attempted to get away. Ari frowned. No, that's already wrote that part. Ribbons surrounded Goodland with fire, and within moments, everyone was trapped. Paz's screams echoed throughout the area as his skin started to burn. Yeah, clearly a young writer's work was very good for 13. Thank you, Jag. Ari left him hanging in the air as she directed her attention to Kurt, just as he and Michael had gotten away from the shattered glass. A ribbon grabbed him and brought him up to her face. A ribbon ripped off. Jag says, I'm here to yell at you to appreciate your talents as a 13-year-old and not cringe at it. I'm not cringing at it. I just think I'm laughing at it. This is just absurd. The gore in this. The writing itself is decent. It's just the gore, the shipping, and the story of this that just go off the rails. Alright. Okay. Here it said, a ribbon ripped off Kurt's... Wait, no. Alright. Ari left him hanging in the air as she directed her attention to Kurt. Just as he and Michael had gotten away from the shattered glass, a ribbon grabbed him and brought him up to her face. Yeah. Jag says, those are the best part of a Wattpad fanfiction. I mean, you're right. And Ori said, I'm here to cringe affectionately, with support, as a friend. Fair. Yes. Good. Alright. He and Michael had gotten away from the shattered glass. A ribbon grabbed him and brought him up to her face. A ribbon ripped off Kurt's 3D glasses to reveal that a shard of glass had landed in his left eye. Kurt didn't say a word and looked straight at Ori with the one eye he was able to use. He then, suspended in the air from a ribbon, threw a punch at her. She instantly reacted, and a ribbon held Kurt to the ground, where he struggled to get free. One ribbon held open his eyelid, while another plucked the piece of bloody glass out. In the background, Paz's screams grew louder. A ribbon held the shard of glass up to Kurt's other eye, but before she could blind him, Sevidus tore down the ribbons and pushed Kurt away. The ribbons instantly latched onto Sev and tore him in two before anyone had time to process what had happened. Okay! Come on! Zissou grabbed Kurt's hand and pulled him up. This way, Beef yelled, as... You died, Respawn. This way, Beef yelled. He was standing, soaking wet near a gap in the fire, waving the others toward him. As the Mindcrackers ran for their life, Etho stayed put, standing there silently, watching the situation before him. Okay. Etho is, I think, the most wildly out of character in this fanfic, because Etho, like, the Mindcrack was just, like, basically the, like, everyone was, like, obsessed with Etho. Okay, so yeah. Etho stayed put, there silently, watching the situation before him. Oh, he doesn't stay stoic. I just got a notification from Slack. I'll ignore that. Hey, Etho, you don't want to die, do you? Do you? Seth grabbed his hand and pulled, yet Etho resisted. I'm not leaving Paz here to die, he said, pushing Seth away, and ran over to where Paz was being held, screaming in pain. He grabbed one of the flaming ribbons and tugged on them. Seth shook his head, then grabbed Etho's arm and pulled him away down the path towards spawn and safety. I'm not going to let you die too. I could have saved him. Etho punched Seth, then fell to the ground, face in his hands. Dear God, ugh. Etho, Seth said, then kneeled down and brought Etho's eyes to his. I can't lose you. Then he pressed his lips to those of Etho, who didn't pull back, but didn't return the kiss either. Okay. The screams from Goodland stopped. Paz was gone. Seth and Etho spotted Kurt and Zeus. It wasn't supposed to be non-consensual. I think that it's supposed to say didn't, like, it was supposed to be, like, he didn't, like, lean into it. This was not the best wording, because I remember, like, this was not supposed to be the non-consensual. That was one thing that, of all the bizarre stuff I wrote, that's one thing that I would never write. Lots of murder, though. I wrote a lot of murder. Paz was gone. Seth and Etho spotted Kurt and Zisto running towards them after they pulled apart. See, they both decided it's supposed to be consensual. I just did not write that correctly. Okay. No one's left in Goodland. We're the last ones out, Kurt said, his hand covering his injured eye, attempting to keep it from bleeding. Okay. Doesn't really do much. Just close your eye, like... Okay. Let's go, Etho stood up. As they left Goodland, burning in ruins, Seth grabbed Etho's arm. Come on, Seth whispered under his breath. Etho squeezed Seth's hand, making sure to dig his fingernails into Seth's skin. Why? Why? Yeah. Ethan said this for a very odd romantic depiction. Yeah. The thing is, I didn't, like, fully ship them. I actually shipped Etho and Nebris, but my friend and, like, who was actually the one who made the cover for the fanfiction, really hated Nebtho and loved Setho, and I wanted to impress them. Like, I thought they were the coolest person ever, and I'm saying they're still pretty cool, but, like, I basically in my fanfictions, I specifically didn't write the ship I shipped and wrote stuff for the ship that the person who I wanted to impress shipped. So Storm! Storm, why? Okay, let's look at this other comment. These other comments. This is from 2018. Okay, this definitely looks like someone who is writing this ironically. Okay, yes, Sitho. Sitho, woo. Where is Pac? Yeah. See, here. This is the person I was trying to impress. Last because Sitho. And all the gore. Yeah. Like all these comments. Yes, yes, Sitho. And action pack. I'm still friends with several of these people. No, like. I think of the people here, I don't know who this person is. They might have like changed their username, but because I remember knowing who all the people commented on here were. I think this is the only person I haven't seen in a while. I wonder, like, I actually should see what they're doing, what they're up to. Yeah, okay, let's go into the next part. Chapter 3, Clank and Crash. Amazing chapter names. Amazing. Storm, I had to reinstall Wattpad for that. What was the point? Why? Okay. Yeah, I actually, before this, I had to, like, reset my Wattpad password. I knew what my old password was, but it wouldn't let me log in with it because it was, like, such an insecure password. It was telling me, no, you have to make a new password. Alright. There was a rush back to spawn. Seth and Etho were the last to step into the cobble path leading towards the center. There was a hushed chatter as they slowly joined the circle surrounding what they soon wished. Netflix should buy the rights for this, lol. Oh god. Alright, there was soon a hushed chatter as they slowly joined the circle surrounding what they soon wished they had never seen. Packrat picked up BTC's mask, not caring about the fact it was covered in blood. Oh, I forgot about this part of the storyline. There was like some there's supposed to be like some required like I can't pronounce the word, but basically there's supposed to be like Packrat was supposed to have like a crush on BTC for some reason. Do you think Vex is gone too? Pyro asked quietly. Depends. Pac ran his finger over the blood-stained mask. Suddenly, the sound of cawing filled the air, and down from the night sky came hundreds of crows circling. What? I don't remember this part at all. Okay. Sorry. It's suddenly really chilly in here again. Give me a moment. I'm gonna mess with the heater. Alright, there we go. Yeah, I'm in the basement, so it's like kind of really cold. It gets cold easily. 30-year-old you have predicted phantoms. I mean, not exactly. Okay. Alright. Uh-oh. Zisto's single eye widened as the crows sped down towards them to feast on the mangled body. Yeah, Zisto's a zombie pigman, if you don't know. The thief is responsible for the phantoms alone. I actually didn't vote at all in that Minecon. Like, that Minecon was like in that 6-month stretch where I finally was like a bit burnt out on Minecraft. So I actually didn't vote in that Minecon vote at all. I probably would have voted for phantoms though because they fly, and I always like wanted more flying mobs. Anyways, yeah. All right, get into Bling Towers now. Good ran towards the nearest building. Okay, to explain for those who didn't watch Minecraft Season 4, Bling Towers was this like apartment building in Spawn that Seth Bling made, and like a ton of them had like their own apartments in it. And for the longest time, I thought Seth Bling was like a self-absorbed asshole because he named everything he made after himself. But then, like, a year, like, after, like, eventually I realized, oh no, he's just really bad at naming things. Yeah, okay. That night, barely anyone slept. The Minecrackers who didn't own an apartment in the tower stayed in the rooms of others. All was silent. Ethos sat quietly on the floor. Floor set. This is again like this is one of the chapters I edited. I edited like the first 5 chapters. Okay, on the floor of Seth's apartment in one room, while Seth lay on his bed in the other one, both wide awake. Ethos stood up, thinking Seth would have fallen asleep by now, and slowly climbed the stairs until he reached Paz's apartment. He opened the door to find Beef already there. Actually, one moment. I'm like keep interrupting myself. Okay, I wanna see if I can find a image of Bling Towers, because it's no, that's not what it is. Here, random J Sano video. Let's see if I can find the outside. Okay, no. This is the wrong season too. Okay, you know what? I'll look for that later, and maybe actually I have the world downloaded as season 4 actually. So, or was this season 5? I actually don't remember. I have the season 4 world download, so we can look at that later. Alright, where was I? Ethos stood up, thinking that Seth would have fallen asleep by now, and slowly climbed the stairs until he reached Paz's apartment. He opened the door to find Beef was already there, sitting, staring out of the window, his back turned. Etho took a second to decide what to do. Beef? He asked, high-pitched, like Paz did. A moment. Sorry. Beef swiveled around, a sad expression on his face, his hair still wet. Oh yeah, because he fell into the river. Okay. He sighed when he saw Etho, then turned his head back to the window. The sound of the crows outside still echoed through the walls. Etho looked at one of the banners on the wall and ripped it down. He grabbed the Wii U gamepad sitting on the couch. For some reason, I decided that they have Wii U's in this universe that's like Minecraft. I guess to explain like the Mario Kart series, I guess. Okay, yeah. Cause yeah, like this is the Wii U gamepad sitting on the couch and flung it towards the TV. Okay, they also have a TV. Both falling to the floor with a dull thud. The couch was then flipped upside down, the Canadian flag above it torn from the wall. The bed was trashed. Etho threw the pillows across the room. Yeah, there's a lot of weird implications in this. Beef didn't even flinch when one hit him. That is not in character. Beef would be like, what the hell are you doing? Well, he wouldn't say hell, but... The trash can hit the window. The sound of glass shattering was heard all throughout Bling Towers. But again, also, Etho is being incredibly out of character here as well, so I don't think that matters. So yeah, he just like threw the trash can out the window. The sound was even heard in the garage underground where Packrat stood, looking at himself in the large mirror, left in the pile of junk that was still here from people moving in. He had BTC's mask on. He didn't want to do this. He didn't know why he was doing this. Pack sighed before heading outside. A trash can hit the ground a few feet away, the loud clang scaring off some of the crows. He looked up to see Etho's head poking out from a window high on the tower. Pack quickly lifted Flame's mask from his face. Etho made a zipping motion over this place where his lips were under his mask. I was saying, if he's wearing his mask, how did Seth kiss him? Because I don't think it said that Seth, like, pulled down his mask. Okay. Alright. Okay, Pac did so as well. They wouldn't speak of what they each saw. He slid the mask back over his face. For a second I thought Pac was kidnapping and killing someone. Honestly, wouldn't be too far-fetched for this fanfiction. That's not what happens, but... Alright. He slid the mask back over his face. There were still some crows around BTC's body, though they scattered as Pac walked up to them. He then dragged what was left of his body into a hole made by a creeper. He had grabbed a few blankets from the stash of junk in the garage, and was now wrapping BTC in them, blood-soaked through the first two. He then pushed the dirt around to almost cover him, leaving his now mangled face and upper body exposed, then put another blanket over it. Packrat felt guilty burying him without telling anyone. Okay. But he finished and put a cross made from sticks over the mound of dirt, which was on the edge of spawn, out of the way, but still easy to access. No, it isn't. It's right next to Blink Towers. They just established that he buried him where he was. Okay. Spending a few minutes to find rocks, he spelled out BTC on the ground. It was easy to tell where BTC's body was. There was a trail of blood all the way from the middle of spawn. Okay, I guess he did drag it at some point. Okay. Why did I do that? The thought suddenly crossed his mind. He spent the rest of the night sitting by the makeshift grave. Yeah, that makes this whole part is okay. Etho ducked back inside, hoping no one else would know about the broken window. People are gonna find out. Well, I mean, they don't really in this, but like, no one else find out the broken window. There's a broken window. Okay, you really shouldn't have done that, Beef whispered as he hung the Canadian flag back up and turned the couch upright. Yeah, Etho said through clenched teeth. Don't worry, I'll clean it up. Go try to get some sleep. This is hard for all of us, Beef said, while picking up what had fallen from the trash can off the floor. Why is Beef, like, so stoic and calm? Night, Etho faked a smile before he left. He's wearing a mask. He's wearing his mask. Why? Okay. Etho faked a smile before he left the room. As he climbed down the steps back towards Seth's apartment, he heard odd noises coming from Milby and MC's apartment. Squish, squish, squish. Etho slowly walked through the doorway of the odd apartment. It was filled with melons, top to bottom. No, that's canon, actually. Their apartment was just filled with melons. That's just what their apartment was like. All right, he sighed before turning back and heading downstairs, but not before having to scrape melon off the bottom of his shoes. So yeah. This is like a plot point later on. This fact that their apartment's just filled with melons, because for some reason that's what it was like. What it was on the actual server. Oh, wait, I forgot to read comments. Let's look at comments. Alright, there's not that many. Okay, yes, it was intended to be Pac and BTC shipping. Pac TC. Wait, what? It's shipping, but he has no respect for him. Okay. That makes no sense. Alright. Chapter 4. Impossibly Broken. The next morning, Pac was found by Co-Star. He had been sitting next to a blood-covered grave. Pac? Co asked. Dude, are you okay? Co came around to his front to see that the grave was made for BTC. Oh, he saw that Pac was wearing BTC's mask. Yo, Packrat. Pac didn't respond. Co slowly lifted the lift the mask off Pack's face to find his eyes rolled back in his head. Dead. There was no sign of what had killed him, for there were no wounds on his body. Mysterious mystery! This one's actually never answered. I just wanted him, like... I realized later on, after I wrote this, that it, like, made it seem like he committed suicide, but that wasn't the intention. I just wanted him to die mysteriously, and I was gonna, like, figure out what the cause was later. Alright. Heartbreak. Yeah. But then I never figured out what the cause was. All the Mindcrackers had congregated in the center of Spawn and discussed everything that had happened. Even though Nebris was unconscious during the events that had happened the previous night, he somehow knew what had happened without being told. Ooh, more foreshadowing! Jax, I mean, all their friends were violently ripped to shreds, so, like, that does make sense. Yeah. It gets weirder. Yeah, he somehow knew what happened without being told. Co told them what he had found, and Jasano, Doc, PSJ, and Michael went with him to investigate further. Alright, we need some safety rules while we figure out what the hell is going on. Good took charge. No going anywhere without a buddy. Why is this in quotes? Alright. Jag says, not weird. I've seen and read way weirder in the Hermitcraft fandom. This is semi-good in a weird way. Oh yeah, I've seen way weirder. It's just that this is just really bizarre still. And that's why I'm doing this and reading it, because it's crazy. Okay. In other words, don't go anywhere alone. Jag says, better than you think. Alright. Make sure you are in the other person's line of sight as well as earshot. Everyone nodded in agreement. And don't leave Spawn without at least 3 different people staying in Spawn, knowing exactly where you're going. There were a few murmurs, but everyone seemed to agree with Good's proposal. Then there was a loud, audible, "What the fuck?" came from the direction of the few checking Pack's body. This is primitive. Why is there a Spawn? I mean, it's just called that. It's called Spawn Town. Alright. He was not like this a few minutes ago, Ko yelled, coming into sight, running with the others close behind him. How is that even possible? Jasano said, extremely confused. What's going on? Beat-Ups asked as he stood up. Pack's dead all right, Michael replied, shaking. Soon the Mindcrackers had gone over to see what the fuss was about. Pack was dead, of course, but he was holding his own bleeding heart in his hands. What? Thank you, the mighty Ho is saying. This is so entertaining. Alright. There was a large, gaping hole in his chest, and his ribcage was broken, and a few pieces of it were lying on the ground. Someone gasped as if someone had just pushed them to the ground. There was an odd swishing sound. The fuck? Milby shot a nervous look at MC, who gave a similar expression as a response. Hey, where'd Avidia go? He was standing right next to me a second ago. Arcus suddenly exclaimed in a panicked voice. Right as everyone turned to see that Avidia was missing, there was a scream, though it wasn't Avidia's voice. Chad was the first to see the source of the noise, collapsed in a pool of blood. Lying in the center of Spawn where the Mindcrackers had been just minutes ago was Pause, who died in, like, the first chapter. Or the second one. Yeah, died in, like, the second chapter. Alright. An inhuman voice was coming from his mouth. He was burned so severely, it was impossible for him to still be alive. He seemed to have dragged himself all the way from Goodland. What's with all the impossible today? Jasano stared at Pause for a second before rushing to help him. Listen, Milby, MC, there are ants climbing Bling Towers to get whatever you guys have in your apartment. Get rid of it before we have another issue. Who says this? It never says who says this. Okay. Melons, Etho muttered. Hey, you okay? Nebra started to scoot towards Etho. Why wouldn't I be? Etho let out a very unconvincing laugh. Come on, Etho, we need to talk. Nebris led Etho towards his castle, neither noticing the other Redstoner silently following them. Did Nebris have a castle in season 4? Was I mixing up seasons here? Because he had a spawn castle in season 3, but I don't know about season 4. Okay. Jay Santa was freaking out. Hey, do you need any? No. Who is talking here? Okay, no. B-Dubs is talking here. This is Jay Santa. This is B-Dubs. Okay. Hey, do you need any? No, I can deal with this. I don't want you doing anything stupid. Sheesh. B-Dubs turned to leave. He's alright, man. You always flip things for the worse. Generic elbowed B-Dubs as they started down the path from the spawn medical tent. Oh, you shut up. You know what? Want to do something? Let's go to the base. Nah, that's too far away. You'd be mad as hell. Not if he thinks we're dead. What? A smirk grew on B-Dubs' face. They were going to be in big trouble. Why are they Why? What? Why? Okay, let's look at these comments. Is there something important about the melons? Yep, nah, it's actually there. I want to see Vexy. That's there. The humor. What humor? This comment may be offensive. Oof. Oh man. Okay. Alright. It took the B team about 3 minutes of walking to realize how stupid they were for leaving spawn. Come out! You can't hide from me forever. Why is time italicized here? What? Why? Time was certainly running out. Why is time italicized? Never mind. The second they were about to make a run... I didn't read the chapter name. Chapter 5, Void and Code. Okay. Alright, the second they were about to make a run for it, ribbons were everywhere. Blood splattered, and an evil giggle echoed across the terrain. Well, they were just unceremoniously killed off. Get away from him, Seth yelled. Etho turned to see Seth's face, but it was too late. Strings of code surrounded him and Nebris. Sorry to take your boyfriend, Seth, but you can't keep him safe. I can. What? Etho took a step back. Before he had even uttered a word, he found himself in a jumble of code. Then a room started to form around him. Sorry, Nebris ripped a string of code from the air, and the white room colored itself. It was mostly purple, with some black scattered throughout, and a tiny bit of magenta. Welcome to the glitch. Okay, sorry. Paz opened his eyes, but there was nothing there. Hello? Paz called, yet he couldn't hear his own voice. He sat up in the black abyss. Ringing was the only noise. Then it started to form distant, echoed words. Paz? Paz, can you hear me? Beef? Where are you? Paz looked around, but he saw nothing. The ringing grew louder. Paz, I'm right here. Beef, where are you? I can barely hear you. Paz looked down at his hands. They were bandaged, along with his torso. The bandages on his arms weren't completely covering his skin. His arms, along with the tips of his fingers, were pitch black, charred to a crisp. Jesus. What? God. Alright. The same color as the abyss surrounding him. The ringing grew louder still. Grew louder still. Beef? Paz felt Beef's arms carefully grasp him in a hug. It's okay. Paz couldn't see Beef, but he knew he was there. How much pain are you in? Beef asked urgently. None, Paz said immediately. He didn't feel any pain, even though it was clear he was hurt. Nothing hurts. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. Well, that was a conversation. Milby threw a melon across the room. It cracked open and splattered all on the wall. Why do we do this again? He asked. I don't even remember. MC quickly put a bucket underneath the now dripping wall. We better clean this up fast, though. He shook off an ant that had started to crawl up his arm. Yeah, Milby licked his hoof. Milby's a rainbow sheep, by the way. It's still good. Not when you're covered in ants. I'm gonna go take a shower. You'll just get covered again as soon as you get out. Not in our apartment. The bathroom's too sticky. Everything is too sticky. MC stepped out the door into the hall. He slowly opened the door to Beef's apartment. No one was there. Leaving a trail of watermelon, MC walked through the apartment. He filled the sink with water and soap and stuffed his dirty suit into it, not noticing the water was slightly discolored. He hopped into the shower and turned the water on, but it wasn't water that came streaming from the faucet. What the? MC yelled. Not only was he now covered in sticky melon juice, but now a flow of red blood as well. I remember this part. I knew about this part. It's just so dumb and just ridiculous. MC grabbed his suit from the sink, which was now soaking wet and covered in bubbles, and put it back on before... This is just gore bingo at this point. Yeah. Back on before running out of Beef's apartment and back into his own. He got back in time just to hear Milby scream, MC! 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 What is it? MC ran through the apartment toward the back where Milby was. There's fucking blood instead of water. Milby then turned to see MC covered in melon, blood, water, and soap. It's not just our apartment. We have to get out of here. Jay Sano! Arcus called from outside the medical tent. What is it? Jay Sano asked. We have a problem. Which one? A new one. Blood is coming from the faucets and Bling Towers instead of water. Ugh. Why are you telling me? I have enough on my hands right now. What? You kind of need to know? Alright, we need you to identify who it is. You have everyone's blood samples. Good told me to get you for this. Bring me a sample of what's coming from the faucets. I'll look at it. So I'm shaking my head. I'm too busy to deal with the blood water. Right. So, whose is it? Good asked when Jay Sano came from the tent. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like it no matter whose it is. It belonged to a mindcracker? The Jims asked nervously. Who else would it belong to? To the B team. How would it be able to tell if it was both? If it was oh. Okay. Okay. Let's look at these comments. Oh my god, okay. Sorry, I just kind of spaced out here. Alright, okay, there's nothing that interesting. Let's continue. Chapter 6, Plan Over Pain. Also, it's been an hour. Let's see, how many parts are there? We're only we're not even halfway through, and it's been an hour. Chapter 6, Plan Over Pain. Again, amazing chapter name. Nebris, fix this now, Ethos said in a serious tone, even though he was quite relieved to be as far from all the blood and death as possible. Listen, I just want to keep you safe, okay? I'll take you back once Ori's dead and everything's cleaned up. You're planning to kill her? There's no other way. From what I've managed to piece together, she's corrupt and that ribbon's not coming off. Unless she's dead and it has to try and find a new host. Tell me everything you know about the ribbon and this plan, and I won't complain. Nebris raised an eyebrow. For now. Well, while we've been here, Paz woke up. Nebris waved his hand, and a screen appeared in front of him. We're gonna need Vex. Nebris stepped through the screen and waved for Etho to follow. They were in Vex's base, and it felt more eerie than ever. A blood-spattered sword lay on the ground in front of them. Vex? Vex? Nebris called. Etho watched silently, taking in the mess around them, and slowly started to piece together the broken, bloody puzzle in his head. There you are. Never stood over Vex's bed where he lay, his head quite clearly detached from his body. Nebris? Yeah, I think he's dead. No, he isn't, Nebris replied. Etho determined that Nebris had officially gone insane. Then he heard the scream. Nebris has picked up Vex's head by his own hair, and it let out a loud screech. Ow! Ow! Nebris! Fuck! Vex yelled, and his body scrambled out of the bed, pushed Nebris, and grabbed his head back from him. Maybe I'm the insane one, Etho thought, as he watched the scene unfold in front of him. Told you so, Nebris flashed a grin at Etho, while Vex collapsed back into his bed. Go away, Vex groaned. You're one of the 12 immortal beings in existence, and all you do when something bad happens is sleep until it's over. Well, that's a bombshell. Wimpy for a god, I'd say. Etho? Etho's eyes darted back and forth from Nebris to Vex. This is where this thing starts coming in. Alright. There's a lot you don't know about Minecraft. I'm surprised someone like you hasn't found the truth about this place already. Oh well, there's a time and place for everything. It seems one of those is now. I'm not a god, Vex attempted to place his head back on his body. It seemed to fuse back for a second, then fell off. Not anymore, at least. You're still my god. Okay. Nebris chuckled as they headed back to the screen portal. Oh, shut up. Vex held his head to his neck with one hand. Come on, Etho, don't just stand there. We've just begun the true tour of Minecraft, and we've got a big block in our way. We need to... Why is this italicized? We need to fake Seth's death and capture him. He can't go around telling people what he knows. What does he know? More than he thinks he does. Oh, boy. Nebris, Etho, get him out. Get out, away from spawn. Nebris wants... Don't trust Nebris. Etho, don't trust them. The water, blood, it's... What the hell? Ko watched Seth freak out. Did Etho ditch you for Nebs? Just because he's your boyfriend doesn't mean he can't hang out with other people. Seth went silent. Fucking great. Might as well go crazy too, Ko sighed, then walked away. It's acid. Why does Seth know this? Why does this happen? I forgot about this part. Oh god. MC felt like he was on fire. That wasn't just blood. Milby, help! Oh my fucking god. Milby touched MC's hand, but quickly pulled away when a hole was burned right through his hoof. What the hell? Jaseno yelled from the distance. The blood he had been examining just moments before suddenly burned through the glass in the test tube it was in. Science! Bash, don't touch that, he yelled when Bash had grabbed a towel to clean it up. Bash mumbled something, inside in annoyance. Then the pipes in Bling Towers burst, and the whole building started to dissolve in acid. The Minecrackers stared both in awe and fear. Chad pulled an ender pearl out of his pocket. Is anyone still there? Doc asked Good, who was making sure everyone was accounted for. Etho and Nebris are missing. As far as we know, Avidia might be in there as well. Then Chad threw the ender pearl at the dissolving Bling Towers. Chad, no! Multiple Minecrackers yelled at once. Chad, yes. Storm J, I love how at least one character at a time is just mildly annoyed when people are dying horrifically. Disaster, just got here. This is an interesting scene to join in. Rip Etho and Nebris? Not exactly. Yes, hi, welcome. He responded with a fearful grin just before he teleported into the building. There was silence, except for the sound of the building slowly collapsing. Chad had teleported into Baj's apartment, 3 floors from where he needed to go. The stairs burned away as he ran up them. Chad got into the penthouse just before the stairs completely disappeared. The floor was dissolving quickly. The supports holding the building up had started to melt as well. Yeah. Chad opened the drawers around the room, dumping them out frantically. Then the sparkle of what he was searching for caught his eye from under one of Ari's bras. Great place for that, Ari. Chad grabbed the bottle and put the silver chain attached to it around his neck. I don't remember if this part ever, goes anywhere. Alright. Or why that thing's important. Alright, actually, wait, comments. The undead part gets you every time. Vex had died. He cursed loudly. There's a thing that's like log. What would that be? It seems like there's something. Okay, never mind. Vex had died. He cursed loud. Chapter 7. When death comes. I'm pretty sure death has already come. A lot. Several times. Many times. Okay. Vex had died. He cursed loudly as his head fell from his shoulders and hit the ground. Grumbling, he revived, a mix of emotions tearing through him. Right as Vex left, BTC died. Though not showing it, he was confused and terrified. His back and neck were obviously broken. He had felt them crack, yet it didn't hurt nearly as much as they did right a few minutes ago. The gaping hole ripped in his chest was still spilling blood. Ugh, Blame groaned and rolled to his side, suddenly feeling much worse than he had before. Later, Sevidus died. The first thing he saw was Blame, lying in a pool of his own blood, staining the pure white surface below them. Sev found himself on the ground as well, his body cut in half, right through his stomach. His reaction to scream was to scream at the top of his lungs. "Will you shut up?" BTC groaned. "What's going on?" Sev yelled in a panic. "Do you expect me to know?" Blame sat up carefully and looked at Sev. "Oh," he sighed. Sev saw BTC's eyes, which were usually pitch black, were now a bright white, including the pupil. "Are my eyes white?" Sev asked, pulling himself up, resulting in his legs becoming covered in blood spewing from his torso. "Yeah," Blame collapsed again, leaving both Mindcrackers in silence. They both knew exactly why they were there, but neither wanted to admit themselves. Paz died. He sat, still smoking with his eyes wide open, not saying a word. After a moment of silence, he let out the most disturbing noise either Blame or Sev had ever heard. Disastrous. Oh snap, no, they're Herobrines now. Okay. Alright. He continued to make this sound for several hours. Then Pac died, and he abruptly stopped. "Thank fucking God," Sevidus groaned. "Blame!" Pac. Why is Pac italicized? Okay. Pac's... Okay, I think... Pac is always italicized here. I think it's supposed to indicate what happens later. Alright. Pac, whose heart was literally torn from his chest, leaped into BTC. "Pac, Pac, 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 Pac," BTC said with a fake smile. "What do you want?" His face fell into a frown. Ugh, Pac sighed and tossed Blame his mask. "How'd you get this?" Blame looked up. "Would you rather I left it on the ground to get ripped apart by birds like your body was?" Pac narrowed his eyes. "What? How did you even die? What happened to your heart?" There was an eerie silence. It had been 12 hours since, and someone had finally admitted their death. You... Okay, apparently he did kill himself. I thought I didn't put that part in there. Blame raised an eyebrow before putting his mask on. Pac burst into tears. "I killed myself. I ripped out my own heart. Ko thought I was dead, so why not? It's not like Ari wouldn't kill me eventually. Everyone's going to die. We're already dead. What does it matter?" I thought I hadn't actually had him commit suicide. Apparently I retconned that and put that in later. Okay. What the hell happened to you, Pac? I've never seen you act like this before. What do you mean? I'm perfectly fine. Nothing's wrong. Oh wait, we're fucking dead. I fucking killed myself for you and you could care less. There was another odd moment of silence before BTC responded with, "What the fuck?" "Beef, where are you?" Paz asked. Everyone's head turns to him. "Beef, where are you? I can barely hear you. Beef? Paz? What the hell?" "None. Nothing hurts." "Yes. B-Dubs died. Jenny died." "Hi," Sev sighed. "Fucking hell," B-Dubs yelled, his voice hoarse and broken from the fact that Ari's ribbons had sucked his blood out so quickly, almost half of it was gone before he died. Paz continued to talk to no one. Other than that, there was silence. "Come on, B-Dubs, let's go," Jenny finally said. "Where? There's nowhere to go," B-Dubs half sobbed. "There has to be something out there." "Infinite nothing," B-Dubs sighed. "But if that's what you want, that's where I'll go." "Well, what are you waiting for?" You literally just said that. Okay, Jenny stood up and reached out his hand to B-Dubs, who was still sitting. "It's not like we have anything else to do anymore." He smiled. Then the blood missing from his body seemed to surge back, and when B-Dubs grabbed his hand and smiled back, the same happened to him. With a simple wave from each of them, they went off, out of sight. They wouldn't be seen again for a long time. "That's it!" Flame sprung up. "I know how to do this now." He grabbed Pack's hand, blood still spiraling from both their chests, and pulled him to his feet. No, not spiraling, spilling. Right. Pack sniffed as he wiped tears from his face with his sleeve. "Stop. Blame, I know what you're thinking, but it isn't that. It's acceptance." Sev's body had healed, and he was standing up fine. Blame left his grip on Pack, and he fell to the floor. "I can't," BTC said simply. "You don't know much about me, Sevidus." "I don't, but that doesn't mean I can't learn." Sev shrugged, a small smile on his face. "Where did Pack get that sweater? I swear he wasn't wearing it that seconds ago." "Huh?" Blame looked down to where Pack sat, silently crying at Blame's feet. Pack was wearing a gray, slightly oversized sweater that he didn't have just moments ago. Pack noticed this too and did a double take, scampering backwards, then screamed. That's not something Pack would do. "What? That's not Pack." "Sev, run. That's not Pack." Whew! As someone who never watched us into Hermitcraft, Vito's swearing is honestly so drunk. He did not swear that much. He did swear, but not nearly as much as I put in this fic. Oh god, I don't know how to respond my ship babies with my pains. Oh boy. Okay. Chapter 8, Lavender. Chad jumped from the window just as the building completely collapsed behind him in a bloody, acidic mess. He attempted to pull another ender pearl from his pocket, but it was empty. He hit the ground. "Idiot," Good sighed, and stood over Chad, who was lying face first, on the ground. Okay. Alright, on the ground. "I got it." Chad sprung up, multiple bones obviously broken, and large bruises covering his body. "Got what?" Beef, who had ran outside the medical tent after hearing all the commotion, asked. "I actually don't... Ow, no. Ari told me that if anything ever happened to her apartment, that this would be the one thing she saved from it. I think, it's more than just a personal thing." "What makes you believe that?" "She said it's really important. Not that it was important to her." "Okay." Alright, just go to J Standard to get patched. Holy shit! Mid-sentence, Good noticed Milby and MC. "I'll be right back. I need to do something. You can watch from here." Nebris brought up a screen, then he disappeared in a flurry of code. What the fuck? Good couldn't do anything but stare for a second. MC was rubbing dirt on himself, trying to get the acid to dissolve it instead of his skin. Meanwhile, Milby was just screaming. Just screaming. Probably because his hoof was being dissolved by acid. Adlington had already grabbed a bucket of water from a small pond and poured it over MC before Good, Beef, and Chad had even processed what was going on. The water evaporated the second it hit. There was nothing anyone could do. The acid seemed to stop after it ate through Milby's arm, but it gave MC no mercy. It tore through his skin, eating him alive. Jag says, "I love this." Oh, man. Nebris, you're wrong. Wait, Nebris, you're wrong, Seth yelled, mind muddled by acid, yet still had one thing clear. No one will believe you. Not likely you'll survive to tell the story anyways. Passcode. Guess. Just tell me, you scum. Best you can come up with? This is why you're not my rival, you know. Give me the damn code. Lavender. And with that, Nebris lifted his sword and drove it straight through Seth's heart. Now run along. Your boyfriend won't be waiting. Seth died. Yeah. Or he says, hey, Aviva, did you go to therapy back then? I think you needed it. Yes, I did. I've been going to therapy since I was like 8. Oh, boy. The monitor turned... Okay, so this whole section here is... Yeah, your descriptions need a bit more juice than them. Yeah. All right, this whole section here with the code... supposed to be like what is going on here. This is like more like the mysterious stuff where they know things that like they're keeping secret. This makes this explains itself later. All right. The monitor turned on. It showed the front of what used to be Bling Towers. This Nebris has no idea what he's doing, by the way. Vex sighed. Etho looked at him, confused. He's from a different timeline. The one where this happened a whole different way. He keeps trying to save a timeline to live in. But it seems he just fucked over a few. He's been hoping I wouldn't tell you. So yeah, this introduces time travel in various different timelines. How do you know this? He's much older. He may not look like it to you, but I can see it. Here. Vex handed Etho his goggles. Put them on. Etho put on Vex's green-tinted goggles and looked back at the monitor, which was now showing Nebris talking to Good. All sorts of data came up right before Etho's eyes. The basic data was the largest. Etho looked at Good. Good Jason Boulderfist, R81, age 34, minor theft. So it lists their name, their age, and their crimes. Etho looked to Nebris. Nebris Christopher Ray, H55. God, I hate that I put their real names in here. Age, well, it's their name, their universe they come from as well. All right, at the bottom of a long list of crimes, there was one that stood out. Murder. Etho turned back to Vex. Vex Davian, R81. And then this, which I think was actually a code, but I have no idea how to decipher it. Etho pulled off the goggles. Nebris wouldn't do that. Not our Nebris wouldn't murder. Okay. Not our Nebris, but this one. Yes, he would. He's going to keep going until he finds a sustainable timeline, Vex said, putting his goggles back in place. Then why doesn't he just go and keep Ari from going insane? It's a fixed point in time. He can't. Let me show you something. Vex grabbed a piece of paper and scribbled some lines on it. His head fell off halfway through. Fuck, he muttered and picked it back up and adjusting it just to have it fall again. Vex looked around the room for something, but clearly didn't find when he asked, Etho, can I have your headband? Yeah, sure. Etho pulled off his headband and handed it to Vex. Thanks. Vex used the headband to fasten his head to his body. That's better. Not gonna last too long, though, he sighed. Here. Yeah. Yes. Disaster says, clearly the most important part's these guys. Name, age, crimes. Jag says, murder, in all caps. Yes. Or he says, the imagery of his head falling off is so funny, it's so cartoonish. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Alright. Chapter 9. Run. Dear God, how many chapters are there? We're almost halfway through, and it's been almost an hour and a half. Oh, this is taking way longer than I thought it would. A video woke up in an old jail cell. If it weren't for the fact he was also tied up, he would have been able to break out by now. His right eye hurt, as well as his left arm, and he had no idea why. The last thing he remembered was going over to see what had happened to Packrat. Avidia squirmed, attempting to break from the ropes holding him tightly. He sighed, then winced in pain as he dislocated his own arm. It hurt twice as much now. He managed to slip out of the ropes and see the odd splinter where it had been broken earlier. Jeez. After wriggling his way out of the rest of the rope, he attempted to relocate his arm, but only dislocated it further. That makes no sense at all. Okay. That makes no sense. Okay. You can't dislocate your arm further when it's already dislocated. Avidia then reached out with his left arm and pulled on one of the rusting bars. It popped out with ease. After exiting the cell, something dark ran right at him. It knocked him into the wall as it passed, injuring Avidia's broken arm and broken and dislocated arm even further. The last thing he saw before blacking out again was a pair of green-lensed goggles and a wide smile. Okay, to clarify for those who aren't who don't know about Minecraft, Vex's like goggles are like green and he has like the helmet and such. Actually, what you do is yeah, this dude. So he looks like. Etho ran the second Vex brought them back to the overworld to explain his picture. He wanted to get his explain his picture? Okay. Etho ran the second Vex brought them back to the overworld to explain his picture. He wanted to get as far as he could. He couldn't admit it, but he was scared. Etho was halfway across spawn when he fell face first into the gravel path. Okay. Etho scrambled back up and saw what he tripped on. Dead eyes looked up at him, blood pooling around his feet. Etho fell to the ground once more. He hugged Seth's body, his eyes welling up in tears. Etho did all he could think to do. He picked up Seth and continued to run from spawn. Picked up his dead body as fast as he could, holding a literal dead weight in his arms. Seth died. He proceeded to punch the nearest entity out of pure anger, which happened to be the fake Packrat, which dissolved into nothing seconds afterward. He then glared at Sevidus, Blame, Pause, and MC. Sev stared right back, but in shock. BTC sighed. MC cowered in fear, and Pause, obviously, wasn't actually there. Obviously! So this is a universe where Respawn doesn't exist, or they break... Respawn doesn't exist. It exists in a weird way. There's like this purgatory realm, and there's like ways to get out of it. It's complicated, but this is like the first time most of them are dying, so they don't know about this. Alright. Seth, with blood still spilling from his chest, screamed in hatred, then fell to the floor, tears in his now pure white eyes. He then wrote one word on the ground with the blood covering his hands. Lavender. The second he wrote it, he disappeared. He was immediately in horrible pain. His eyes were blurred, and he realized that this wasn't the code he was looking for. Seth was being carried. He didn't know by who or to where, but they were in a clear panic. He let his eyes close, and he fell asleep. Hours later, Seth woke up. He heard someone crying, but he was in too much pain to sit up. He tried to talk, but all that came out was a quiet rasping noise. Huh? A familiar voice questioned. Etho looked over at Seth and swiftly turned away again, not wanting to see him dead. Etho, Seth managed to get out, then went into a coughing fit. Speaking of a coughing fit, I'm going to have one if I don't drink water now. Oh man, okay. Etho freaked out, ripping his mask and trying to quell the blood still flowing from the large wound, even hours after it was inflicted. He then took his vest and ripped strips of fabric from it as well. There was no way Seth was alive, yet he was. Ethos started to cry even more, this time from melancholy rather than pure sadness. Please don't die, Etho whispered in fear. Nebris was furious. He had just finished helping set up his castle to be a place for everyone to stay, and when he went back to the glitch, Vex and Etho were gone. He was also surprised no one had found Seth's body yet. He quickly teleported to the spot where he had killed Seth, and immediately saw the trail of blood leading into the forest. Guys, he called. What is it? Baj was the one to respond. Come here, Nebris called again. Baj, who was around the corner, closer to the middle of spawn, asked Arcus to come with him, and they wanted to see what Nebris had found. Either Seth, Etho, or Avidia, Arcus inspected after the initial shock of the scene. They're the only ones that are missing without a body found or seen, or death seen. Or Vex, Baj suggested. Could have been, Arcus asked, without explanation. It couldn't have been, Arcus said without explanation. So Arcus knows that Vex is like a demigod, but never explained why. I don't think it is, at least. Nebris sighed, knowing that the exact conversation that would ensue from that statement, for he had even said it himself. It might as well have been an unstable time lock, for those were nearly undetectable compared to stable ones. That sentence makes no sense! Why not? Baj asked. There's a lot you don't know about Minecraft. I'm surprised someone like you hasn't found the truth about this place already. And with that, Arcus walked back towards the center of spawn. Nebris faked a shrug and walked back with Baj toward his castle, silent. Oh. There's now 11 people here. Hello. Hi. That night, Milby sat, hunched over in a corner, crying silently. He hadn't even let Jasano patch up the stub left of his hoof before running to hide in the first place he could find, Nebris' castle, which was soon populated with the rest of the Minecrackers. Beef came up behind him silently and sat down next to him. Hey, he whispered, you need to talk? Wait 1 second, I want to check something. Don't mind me. Okay, sorry. Where's this? I honestly don't remember how I lived before I met MC and joined Minecraft, Milby sighed. Now one of those things has been taken away from me, and the other is in danger too. So yeah, like also Milby and MC are supposed to be shipped in this too. Though it's like not as obvious as many of the others. There was a lot of shipping in this. Like, the Minecraft fandom never really had the like debate that the Hermitcraft fandom had about like, is it okay to ship real people? Everyone just kind of did it. And like, it wasn't until way later after like I'd gone after like the peak of Minecraft that I ever like encountered a fandom. I was like, oh, this shit isn't okay. Because it was just like never questioned in this fandom. Okay. Yeah, alright. Maybe once Chad wakes up, you can talk to him. He's lost Ari, Vex, and Sev, and as well as breaking several ribs in his nose, but he's carrying on. Maybe. So yeah, also like another big ship was Chad and Sevidus. It's called Chevidus. And then like the sort of like there's like the four these four were sort of like often like sort of paired, not what's the word for like trio, but four, quad, like that's not best word for it. All right. The sun had almost set, and the small roofless wooden shack Etho had found was getting cold. There was a big Alright, there was a basement, but he had no idea how he was going to get Seth down there without hurting him. Etho opened the trapdoor and climbed down the rusty ladder. It was surprisingly much warmer. He had to risk it. He carefully picked up Seth, who was fast asleep, yet still breathing, and inched his way down the ladder. The small basement consisted of a small, and bed with one thin blanket and mattress, but no pillows or sheets. There was another trapdoor on the other side of the room leading further down. Etho put Seth in the bed and closed the door leading to the surface. Then he opened the one leading further down and climbed into darkness. This comment, Etho! Holding a literal dead weight in his arms. Oh boy. Chapter 10. Alt. Okay. One second, the heater really keeps turning off. Alright. When he reached the floor, Etho saw the dark figure sitting before a dim computer screen. Etho crept closer, not wanting to alert the person sitting at the computer that was there, but the person heard him and swiveled around. Etho took a step back. God fucking... The person threw a mouse they were holding on the ground. A mask covered the person's face, and Etho couldn't tell who they were, but the voice was eerily familiar. Listen, I'm sorry to disturb you, but my friend upstairs is dying and I need help. This is so out of character. Okay, I'll help you. The person climbed the ladder. Storm says, Etho, don't interrupt them. They're playing Minecraft. Alright, listen, I'm sorry to disturb you, but my friend upstairs is dying and I need help. Okay, I'll help you. The person climbed the ladder up towards the first label, I think it's supposed to say level, of the basement, and Etho followed. Now he could see the person in more light and was shocked by who he was. The same multicolored eyes. One red, one blue, the same scar. Dun, dun. What? Etho spluttered. The alternate version of him had realized who Etho was as well. Listen, kid. I'll explain later. Let me help your friend first. Alternate Etho walked over to Seth. Oh, Seth, he sighed, his voice softening. He slowly took off the makeshift bandages and replaced them with real ones, which he had in his pocket in his jacket. Okay, didn't even get it at first because I usually see Etho as having one brown eye instead of blue. Okay, yeah, on his skin it is like the blue and the red eye. Yeah, alright, okay, the one he... Don't know how he's still alive, but you're lucky. First timeline he's been alive this long from what I know. Why are you here? Why are you here? I thought this would be far out enough to not be found. I'm here to stop Nebris. He's been destroying timeline after timeline trying to stop Ribbon, but he's just making things worse. Where's this timeline's version of Nebris? No idea, kid. The fact that it has Etho calling his, younger alternate timeline version kid is so funny. If I knew, I would have tried to free him by now. All I know is that he's not in the glitch. If the two of the same person from different timelines enter the glitch, they both disappear, not even die and go to the medium. They just cease to exist. That's as far as I remember, that's literally never relevant. Okay. Etho didn't bother to question what the medium was. So the medium is the weird, white place where all the dead people are. Old Etho said, fuck them kids. He's not even that old. He's supposed to be only 10 years older. Etho, Seth had woken up. I'm here. Etho held Seth's hand. Alt Etho sighed. Are there any other Minecrackers from your timeline here? Vex, probably. He's got this weird revenge thing on Avidia and Co. and is taking it out on any version of them he can find. I don't think that's ever explained why he hates specifically Avidia and Co. And Nebris is tearing holes in time, making it easier for him to do so. What did they do to him? No idea. What happened to your timeline to cause Nebris to come to others? Sorry I'm asking so many questions. It's okay. My timeline completely time-locked when Ribbon died. No idea how she died or why. But Ari was left alive. From what I know, Chad and Ori are still there, while everyone else is dead, or hiding in one of the timelines Nebris destroyed. Wait, Minecraft had more than one? No, it only had one. It was only Aurelian. Ari was left alive. From what I know, Chad and Ori are still there where everyone else is dead or hiding in one of the timelines Nebris destroyed. This has been going on for 20 year now. So yeah, it's 20 years older. Still not that old. 20 years now, and every time I failed to stop him. The rips in time are what most likely caused the blood to turn to acid. Seth had heard the whole conversation. Oh man, this timeline is even more fucked than I thought, Alt Etho looked up. This one's gonna give out soon. Etho winced at hearing swears in his own voice. Oh, sorry. A lot of things has changed since I was like you. Alt Etho pulled down his mask and smiled sadly. Etho picked up his mask, which was now encrusted with Seth's blood, and slipped it back on. He felt weird without it on. Vex sat in his under. That sounds hazardous. Yeah. Vex sat in his underground home and wondered if she should go to the other Minecrackers in Nebris's castle. 1 second. He could also go find Etho, or even his timeline's Nebris. He decided to go look for Avidia. He couldn't have been taken that far, and he suspected where Ribbon would have taken him. Vex headed straight for the stronghold. When he got there, he was at least partially right. There was a trail of blood on the ground, leading from the outside of an old, rusty jail cell. Following the spill of blood, something came up on Vex's goggles. Vexdavian. That was it. No other details, not even glitches. Vex giggled, assuming this alternate version of himself would be just like him. This noise altered Altvex to his present. Oh, hi there, Altvex laughed in response, still hidden by the darkness. Another being came up on Vex's goggles. Avidia Zen, R81, age 42. No crimes! Avidia has apparently committed no crimes. Hello, Vex waved. Sorry to bother you, but why did you take Avidia? You know why I took him? Altvex stepped into the faint light. He had an abnormally large grin on his face, and his green goggles were cracked. He wasn't even wearing his helmet, and his hair was a complete mess, sticking out in every direction. Because he's a murderer! Altvex screamed. Crimeless dude. Don't even know who that is. At least there were no crimes. Altvex screamed. Avidia, who'd been flung into a wall, temporarily paralyzing him, lay against the wall and squeezed his eyes shut in fear. No, he isn't. Vex tried to stay calm. Etho's headband was starting to give way as well. Ori says, I barely know what's going on anymore. Yeah, this is insane. This just gets, like, I told you this fic got, like, insane. Ha, 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 Altvex screeched. Vex did the first thing he could think of. He threw a punch. He soon got held down by Altvex, who was slightly stronger than him. Vex bit his shoulder and kicked him away. Altvex hit the wall and laughed, blood dripping down from the bite. Vex tackled him again. Grabbed the rope sitting on the ground. He ran circles around Altvex, tying him to a pole in the wall before knocking him out with a blow that made his knuckles bleed. Shit. Vex rubbed his hands. What was the bite of me? Thank you, Ori. Vex rubbed his hands before turning to Avidia. What hurts? He asked. Avidia responded with a fearful stare. Don't worry, I'll be back. Vex ran back to his base through the complex underground caves. He soon returned with a minecart. He hoisted Avidia into the minecart and started to push it back to his base, leaving Avidia's broken sunglasses on the floor smeared of the blood on the floor of the of the blood smeared stronghold. This is the only comment on this chapter. All the alts. Chapter 11, The Calm. Don't know how this could be calm. Literally, the morning was chaos. Okay. The morning was chaos. Adlington and PSJ volunteered to make the 10-day trip to the city of Mojang to get help, and they left before the sun had finished rising. The chance they would make it with such little preparation was slim, but it was even more dangerous to stay on the server. So that has a lot of more implications, like the city of Mojang. There's a lot. And then these two are literally never seen the entire rest of the fic. I just kind of wrote them out because I just didn't know what to do with them, and also decided not to kill them, I guess. So yeah, they never come back. That's just the last we see of Adlington and PSJ. Alright, Vex had finished regenerating, his head attached to his body once more. He left Etho's headband on his bed and went to wake up Avidia, who was sleeping in the room Vex had slept in before he built his actual bedroom. Not the thing like he had on the server. Avidia, Vex tapped him on the shoulder. We're going to spawn. Jsano can help you. Avidia nodded, still not talking. His previously dilated eyes had returned to normal. He started to get up, but when Vex pulled the minecart, which he had fashioned into more of a wheelchair, Vex pulled up the minecart, which he had fastened into more of a wheelchair. Avidia scooted into the wheelchair. After he had fallen asleep, Vex had bandaged up his arm and other wounds. Avidia couldn't remember what all Vex had done to him, but from the facts that no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't talk, it was bad. Okay. Vex had wheeled Avidia into spawn. Some people were outside, talking about what to do about Ori. Alt Nebra spotted Vex and shot a glare at him. It didn't alert the others. Vex slipped into the castle and instantly saw the crudely written sign reading Infirmary on it. He knocked on the door. Come in, Jsano groaned. Come in. God, my voice is getting like... I have not talked this long for like this straight for like ages. Come in, Jsano groaned. Vex opened the door. Vex? Vex waved from the corner of the room before opening it fully, letting Jsano see that he had another patient. What now? Jsano threw his arms into the air. Found him in the stronghold. Broken arm and black eye among some smaller things as well. He's unable to talk as well. I don't know if that's trauma or if his vocal cords are actually damaged. Ori says, maybe you could do a second stream after this chapter. Maybe. I'm determined to at least finish this. Might do a second stream reading the other fan fictions, since like this is the only finished one and this is the longest one. I definitely want to like read some of my bizarre one-shots and stuff I've made at some point. But yeah. Okay. Alright. Vex cut to the chase, trying to make Jsano's job as easy as he could. He obviously had gotten not nearly enough sleep lately. Jsano sighed and took the makeshift wheelchair, which was just a chair and a minecart, and helped Avidia onto one of the beds brought in from the tent of the hospital that was now way too close to the acid dump that used to be Bling Towers to be used anymore. What have you been doing? Why were you in the stronghold? Jsano asked. I'll tell you later. There's a lot you don't know about Minecraft. I'm surprised someone like you hadn't found the truth out about this place already. Stupid thing. Okay, Vex said simply before leaving the room, closing the door behind him. He then ran straight into Milby. Milby did a double take when seeing Vex. Sorry, Vex moved out of the way. Milby watched him walk off before entering the infirmary. If I hear that one more time, I don't know what the point of that was. I know, like, I had some reason for that, but I don't know what it was. Is Chad awake? Milby asked Jay Sano from the doorway. Not yet, Jay Sano said, as he grabbed some gauze to redo the bandages on Avidia's arm that Vex had done far from correctly. Dislocated too? What happened to you? Jay Sano asked. Even knowing that he wouldn't get an answer, he popped Avidia's arm back into place with ease, seeing he had dealt with the injury many times. Hey, Chad yawned. And yawning is really contagious. If just reading that made me yawn. Alright, sitting up and rubbing his eyes. Nope, lie back down, Jay Sano ordered. Chad lay back down and stared at the ceiling. Hi, Milby said nervously. Hi, Milby, Chad responded, still annoyed at Jay Sano. I don't know if you know this yet, but, yeah. MC died last night after you were rushed inside to get fixed up. What? Chad shot up again. Chad! Jay Sano glared at him. Sorry, Chad grumbled and lay back down. So, Beef suggested I go to you to, ask how you've been coping with, recent events. Because we're still in danger, was Chad's response. There's no time to mourn when your own life is threatened. There was an edge to his voice, making it easier to tell he was lying. Milby left the infirmary without another word. Well, that's rude. Etho lay next to Seth, not moving, not wanting to wake him up. He was certainly surprised when Seth kissed his forehead. Let's go home, Seth whispered, pain still in his voice. I'm already dead. Not like staying here will make a difference. Don't say that. Rise and shine, wakey wakey! All Etho yelled, disturbing the peace, yet clearly not caring. You want to find one Nebris, I want to murder the other. Got no time to lose. He had taken off the top part of his mask, letting his gray hair flow down past his waist. Etho raised an eyebrow. Alt Etho rolled his eyes. For you. He held his hair in one hand, sword in the other, and sliced it clean off. It only reached his shoulders now. What was the point of this? Storm J says, okay, Alt Etho is now my favorite character. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, apparently I think Etho was supposed to be, like, uncomfortable and annoyed seeing, like, a version of himself with, like, stupidly long hair and, like, who swears and is rude and weird. So Alt Etho was like, okay, I'll cut my hair, but I won't do anything else. I think that's what just happened. I'm not sure. I'm not letting you get away with that, Etho grinned and slid off the bed. After half an hour, he had somewhat layered Alt Etho's hair with the iron sword. You're a good kid. I wish I was still like you. You're like 20 years older, but you're both adults. Like, chill. Even if you are pretty cringeworthy. Oh my god! Oh my god, you're a good kid. I wish I was still like you, even if you are pretty cringeworthy. Author character parallels. Okay. Alt Etho ruffled Etho's hair. Now come on, he stood up. We've wasted enough time already. Etho laughed. It's supposed to say when? Or then, I think, yeah. Then went over to pick Seth up. Alt Etho stopped him. I'm stronger than you. You could tell these later chapters weren't edited at all. Stronger than you, and you should know that. He picked up Seth bridal style and heaved him up the ladder. Then, how can you carry someone bridal style up the ladder? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, then they started the 3-hour journey back to spawn. When Seth fell asleep in Alt Etho's arms, he said one thing. Take care of your boyfriend, kid. It's not nice to see him die. Etho didn't respond. He just looked up at the sky, the clear blue sky. Birds whistled in the trees. Little did he know, but today was the calm before the storm. Okay. Chapter 12. He's dead. Amazing chapter name. Packrat felt like he was floating. There was nothing to see, nothing to feel. It was somewhat nice, actually. How long had it been? Hours? Days? Then he woke up and remembered what had happened. He hadn't been able to control his own body and had ripped out his own heart. Okay, so Pac didn't kill himself. That was the weird fake Pac saying that he killed himself. It was the weird fake Pac that killed Pac. Pac was wearing a gray sweater. That he didn't know why. He started down the path to Bling Towers and was surprised to find it gone. Just a pile of acidic matter in its place. He spotted Arcus and Pyro talking outside of Nebris's castle in hushed tones. Arcus, Pyro, what's going on? He called out to them, but they didn't even turn their heads. Pat came closer to them. They didn't seem to be aware. Hi, Peb. This is... Oh, boy. Yeah. Didn't seem to be aware. He looked down at his legs and realized he had died. Pac pulled the sweater away from his chest and saw the gaping hole where his heart had been torn out. Paws had regained his sight over the night, yet Jasano wouldn't let him leave the infirmary, even if he wasn't in pain. Pac walked straight through the door of the infirmary, and Paws spotted him immediately. Pac? Paws exclaimed, for he knew Pac was dead. You can see me? Pac responded. Pause. Packrat's dead. This is why you need to stay here. You're hallucinating, Jasano sighed. No, he's right here. Can't you see him? Pause gestured to where Pac was standing. Pause. He's right. I am dead. I have no idea why you can see me, but no one else can. Wait, Pause? But you died too. No, I didn't, Pause said, confused. I just got some pretty bad burns. Pause. Jasano glanced at him. Pause grumbled and pulled his blanket over his head. Pause. I saw you die. I don't know what's going on, but I'll figure it out. Don't worry. Good luck, Pause whispered, trying not to gather Jasano's attention. I don't want to go there, Etho sighed, peering into Spawn from the forest. Can we just go to my house? For now, Alt Etho turned their course to Etho's treehouse. Once they got there, they sat in silence. I miss this place, Alt Etho sighed. What are we going to do about Seth? Etho asked. I'll pass off for you and get him to Jasano. It's the only way I can get close to Nebris as well. I have some extra stuff in the other room. Etho stood up. After disguising himself, Alt Etho picked Seth up again. Okay, this is why they cut his hair. Or at least where I had that part in the story. Okay. Seth again. Good luck. Etho kissed Seth on the forehead and then watched him go. Vex, you can't just go off on your own when this stuff happens, Good yelled. I'm sorry. Vex rolled his eyes underneath his goggles. Like I believe... Etho? Where the fuck have you been? Vex ran over to Alt Etho, not noticing the H55 displayed on his goggles. Not yet noticing the H55 displayed on his goggles. Like the dimension label. Good brought his hand to his face and grumbled to himself. Not now. Alt Etho ran past him and into Nebris's castle, straight to the infirmary, knowing about Vex's goggles. Jasano almost threw a fit. God damn it, he yelled before sighing and pulling out yet another bed. Listen, I need to sleep. I need to sleep. Keep an eye on the infirmary for me. You're the only one I can trust to not mess everything up. Get me if there's an emergency. If there's an emergency. Jasano left before Etho even had a chance to answer. Again, you can tell these later chapters aren't edited whatsoever. I did not read these at all. Before Etho even had a chance to answer. He was stuck watching the infirmary. Tears dripped from his eyes. He hadn't interacted with any versions of any of the Mindcrackers in years. He could easily take the place of Etho in this timeline. It was wrong. But maybe it wouldn't hurt if he took it for a bit longer. Etho, where are we? Seth had woken up. We're in the infirmary. It's been moved to Nebris's castle. Etho made his voice softer, like it used to be. I love you, Seth sighed and held Etho's hands. You too. Etho's hand. You too. Etho felt more tears rush down his cheeks. This is the chance he got. He leaned in to kiss Seth, but was interrupted by the sound of someone groaning. He turned to see Chad with his face stuffed in his pillow. Etho let go of Seth's hand and walked across the room to Chad. Oh my god. Chad looked up when he felt Etho sit down next to him. Etho saw the bandage on Chad's nose and lifted his chin up. You shouldn't do that. You don't want to get hurt more than you already are. Chad's face was red with tears, his eyes puffed up. He disregarded Jasana's words and sat up, then pulled Etho into a hug, sniffling. They're gone, and I don't know what to do, Chad cried. He'd finally snapped? I don't think snap's the right word there. Ari's gone, Sev is gone, Vex is gone, and I don't know what to do. Etho was surprised by this. Vex isn't gone. He's outside right now. Can you bring him to me? Chad exclaimed, for this was new information to him. Yeah, just wait a minute. Etho stood up as Chad left his grip on his torso. He found Vex quickly, for he had just come inside. Chad wants to see you, he said quietly. Vex eyed him suspiciously, for he now saw the clear H55 next to his name. Meet me in the treehouse tonight, and I can explain. Etho responded to the glare after checking to see no one else was around. Okay, Vex responded before entering the infirmary, with Etho right behind him. Etho let Vex go over to Chad, and he was going to sit back down with Seth when he noticed Avidia staring at him. Hey, Etho waved. He can't talk, Paz, who had been watching, chimed in. What happened? Etho asked. Paz shrugged in response. Etho turned back to Seth, yet tripped over the bedpost. He managed to catch himself, yet he yelled without thinking, fuck. Which this is supposed to be like blowing his cover, because Etho doesn't swear. Chapter 13, Demon. Kurt lay on the mattress he was using as a bed while he was staying in Nebris's castle. He rubbed his right eye. He hadn't been able to see through it since the events at Goodland. Someone knocked at the door. Come in, Kurt sighed as he sat up. Hey, it was Zisto. Doc had taken it upon himself to lead the making of a plan of attack. We can't just wait this out. Want to help? Oh my god. Oh boy. Sure, Kurt got up, and he and Zisto headed outside. Yes, but then that would leave this area vulnerable. The gyms pointed out a spot on a large map of Spawn to Doc, Arcus, and Badge, who were all sitting with the map in between them. Hey, Arcus looked over to Zisto and Kurt. Hi, Kurt sat down next to him. You do realize if you have someone here, you wouldn't need anyone here or here, but that depends on what you're planning to do to do. I think them to do? All Etho snuck out of the castle, knowing very well how bad a mistake he just made. Alright, sorry. He started to head for the treehouse, not seeing the two pairs of eyes watching him suspiciously. Good followed Etho silently, not knowing he had company either. Your timeline's more messed up than any of the other I think this is the chapter where this happens, where I had been writing a part of it and the draft didn't get saved and I got frustrated, so I just wrote the next part, but I forgot to go back and write the part before it. So there's just an unexplained gap in some stuff. I think that happens in this chapter. I think it's this chapter or the next chapter that happens. And I'll explain what the gap is when I get to that. Your timeline's more messed up than any of the others Nebris has come through so far. He's given up strategy and is just messing around at this point, all to Etho's side, pulling off his mask. What are we going to do about it? Etho asked, watching a cat chase a squirrel on the ground below. We've got more problems than Nebris and Ribbon, if that's the case. You got a camera? Yeah, why? Have you seen anyone act strangely, like they were possessed? Die in an impossible manner? Not that I know of. Etho had seen Pack acting oddly, yet he was to keep his silent promise to him. There was a rustling in the leaves above them. There's a demon somewhere on this server. Nebris usually takes care of it, but there's a good chance he didn't get it this time. A demon? Yes, and a fed up one too. It wants to die. The only way for demons to die is for them to commit suicide while possessing someone and stay in their body while they die, causing the possessed to become a demon and the original demon to cease to exist, while the one killed has to wander until they eventually do the same thing. Pack, who was hovering next to Good, hiding in the leaves of the treehouse, was taken aback. Demon, he whispered to himself, even though no one could hear him. Oh, boy. Pack hopped down through the leaves and then slid down the side of the treehouse and took off into the forest. He had an idea. Good attempted to adjust his position in the branch. He had no idea what was going on. 2 ethos? It made no sense, but he was determined to find out. He would keep his server safe as he could, even if what he could do wasn't much. Yeah, half your server's dead! While moving forward, he underestimated how much weight the branch could hold. Good held tightly as he felt it start to bend beneath him. That's why we need a camera. It's the only way to see demons when you're not one. There are other ways. It's a way to see demons when you're not one. There are other ways, but this is the easiest. I'll try and find one. Etho pushed open a chest and started to rummage through it. Here, might need new batteries, though. Why does this technology exist in this world? This is supposed to be like the Minecraft world. Thanks. And with that, the bench Good was on snapped. The branch Good was on and snapped, and he fell to the floor. He rolled over with a groan. Alt Etho started to clap slowly. You didn't have to spy on us, Etho sighed. Why are there 2 of you? Good scrambled back. Timeline shenanigans. Alt Etho didn't even glance at Good when he answered. The camera's working. Now we just have to find the demon. Let's hope it hasn't gotten to anyone yet. What the fuck is this shit about a demon? Are you both crazy? Am I crazy? Good's eyes darted back and forth from Alt Etho to the Etho of his timeline. Listen, Good. There's a lot you don't know about Minecraft. I'm surprised someone like you has found the truth about this place already. You're their leader, for God's sake. Alt Etho looked through the camera. God, that line. Why is... Fine, I'll help you find this demon, Good yelled in response. Wasn't asking you to, but okay. Anyone dying in a way that should be impossible lately? Packrat. Found dead with no cause. An hour later, his heart was torn out, even though no one had been near him. Packrat? That's new. Usually this demon gets to anyone it's someone stronger. Burn. Guess the consequences for Never's going crazy with this one. You've got a lot of explaining to do, and you better do it soon. Good crossed his arms. You're telling me what to do? I've been hopping through the timelines trying to fix them for 20 years. I think I'm more qualified to give orders than you. Alt Etho finally looked at Good, on his face a look of anger. Ignore him. He is grumpy, Etho grinned. Leaning against a chest, his alt responded with incoherent grumbling. Can someone tell me what's going on? Good repeated. I too would like an explanation. Don't know who says that. Arcus yelped with surprise. You okay? Kurt asked. Arcus didn't respond. Arcus? Doc looked him in the eye. Arcus, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Arcus shook out of his trance-like state. Okay. Who are you? Get out of my body. Leave me alone. What are you doing? Stop. Is this like supposed to be thoughts? Okay. Possessing someone was not like Pack had expected. Arcus's voice was inside his head, yelling at him in anger. I need to lie down. Pack lied through Arcus's teeth and went around the back of Never's castle, and started back down towards Etho's treehouse. Pack felt extremely guilty, especially with Arcus yelling at him from inside his own head. Pack punched himself, or Arcus rather. Not that powerful of, are you? What? Powerful. Demon, Arcus yelled aloud. Shh! Pack attempted to move, but Arcus was quickly regaining control. It's Packrat, I'm sorry. I just need you to cooperate. I'll let you. Pack? Arcus's heart sank, letting his guard down just enough for Pack to pull him behind a small tree. Please, just let me do this. I need to find out what's going on. Oh, wait, I need to look at the comments. Oh my god. This is just. Dear God. There's still 5 of you around here. Thank you for sticking around. Seth opened his eye. Chapter 14, A Warning. Seth opened his eyes to the dull cobble ceiling. He listened to his own breathing for a few minutes before sitting up. He was met with a pair of pitch black eyes. Paz's face was only a few inches away from him. Seth blinked slowly, not quite processing how odd this was. All he noticed was that Paz wasn't nearly as scarred and burnt as he was only a few hours before, when Etho had been talking to him. And Paz sat silently in the background. Stormjay, this stream is getting me through animatic work. Thank you. Ooh, I'm excited to see that animatic. The heater keeps turning itself down. Alright. You like him, eh? Paz said suddenly, this time startling Seth so much that he hit his head on the stone wall behind him and passed out once more. It wasn't Paz's words that what the hell? That scared Seth so much, but it was the fact that he had heard Paz, yet his lips didn't move until the sound was gone. Seth only saw the first movement of his lip before he had bounced backward in surprise. There was a sniffle from the bed. What is going on here? On the opposing wall, a lump of sheets with a small bit of bright red hair sticking out one end, a gray sock out the other, started to bawl. This stirred Avidia, who had been meditating of all things. Of all things? What? And he got up and left the room. Jasano was out cold upstairs, nightmares of the fire he couldn't stop torturing his sleep. Avidia exited the infirmary and instantly sought out Ko, who was sitting on the second floor balcony, precariously close to the edge. Hey, Ko sighed before Avidia was even within his line of sight. Avidia sat down next to him. You doing all right? Avidia stared off into the distance. Started. Who hurt you? Ko turned to Avidia, who himself was looking down at Vex with a sad gaze. Vex? Avidia shook his head. Should I go talk to him? Ko asked. Avidia raised his head and met Ko's concerned eyes. This would be much easier if you would just not. Ko laughed half-heartedly. Avidia couldn't help but let a small grin show. He nodded. Yo, Vex! Ko yelled, not even bothering to move. Vex looked up. Ko waved. Come up here. Have you seen Etho? Were Vex's first words when he reached the balcony. Yeah, but you tell me what I want to know first. Who hurt Avidia? It's hard to explain. Vex stopped himself and sighed. This sounds stupid, but an alternate version of me from a different timeline did. That's all I know. Is he telling the truth? Ko gave Avidia an unusual look. Not explain what that look is. Avidia nodded. When did this happen? The stronghold. As far as I know, he's still there. Now tell me where Etho went. Saw him headed to the woods a few hours ago. Probably long gone by now. Thank you. Vex and Ko were strangely mad at each other. The tension was getting to everyone. Avidia opened his mouth, forgetting his inability to speak. An inexplicably loud, inhuman rasping noise came out. Both Ko and Vex stepped back in surprise. Avidia fell over almost instantly. Ko darted forward and dragged him away from the edge of the balcony. Avidia tried weakly to cover his mouth, but this noise kept emanating from him. Everyone in Spawn was looking to see what was causing the... What is going on? What was causing this noise? The noise grew louder. Avidia was crying now. Even PSJ and Adlington, who were almost a day's worth of travel away, heard it, even if it was only whispering to them. They don't want to be like shattering everyone else's eardrums, jeez. Good. Both Ethos, Pac, and Arcus, who were tied up in the treehouse because Pac refused to let his... Okay, what happened here, like, the missing thing is that, like,
Okay, yeah, this is where the missing part is. Basically, what happened is that Arcus goes to the treehouse, they take a photo, see that Pack's like a demon possessing him and such. That happens, yeah. Because Pack refused to let his communication with the world go and leave Arcus's body, and Arcus wouldn't cooperate and let Pack speak for even a minute without struggling or immediately alerted to the sound. Fuck this, Scoot tugged the rope, trapping Arcus free. Okay. I think letting Arcus free. Fucking possess me for all I care. I don't know why you chose Arcus of all people to deal with. Pack immediately jumped from Arcus to Good and was greeted with Good grumbling and annoyance, but not resisting. Arcus punched Pack before scaling down the side of the tree towards the sound and spawn. This is so weird. Why is Arcus characterized like this? Okay? Come on, this is something very new. Nebris really fucked up this time. Keep saying that, eh? Alt Etho grabbed Etho's arm and tugged him down the stairs, down the path to spawn. I hate you, Good grimaced in pain, but let Pack take control. A video wasn't even there anymore. Just Ko hugging a silhouette of pure energy, tears streaming from his eyes. He couldn't hear anything anymore. It was so loud it was silent. Vex, ears covered, was tapped on the shoulder. He looked up to see himself smiling down at him, seemingly unaffected by the deafening noise only a few feet away from him. This Vex's hair was much messier, especially prominent, seeing he wasn't wearing his usual red hard hat. His green goggles were... Why did I do this? I already described this guy. His goggles were cracked and he had a wide grin on his face. Revenge is a dish best served cold, right? That makes no sense said here. Okay. Alt Vex asked, his voice somehow clear and loud, even with what was going on right next to him. He snapped his fingers, and the noise stopped. A video appeared again, replacing the emptiness in Ko's arms. His eyes were rolled back, but he was still breathing. Just what do you think you're doing? Vex jumped up, ears ringing. Ko held a video close. Yep, I guess they're also shipped in this? Okay. He couldn't hear anything. Dizzy, stunned, and confused, Ko shakily got to his feet, still holding onto a video. Looking around, he saw two of Vex. He didn't give it a second thought. Nothing made sense anymore. Ko pulled a video inside and into one of the small rooms. There was only a rug in it. Ko placed a video down on it, then lay down himself. The sky outside started to darken, even though there was still over an hour until the sun was supposed to set. Mysterious. Ooh. Okay. God. Paws saw a figure off in the distance. Squinting his eyes, he saw the familiar cape BTC always wore. It was tattered and torn. Blood pooled at Blame's feet. Wait. Paws turned to see two I guess this is also a part? Oh, no, okay. Paws saw a figure off in the distance. Squinting his eyes, he saw the familiar cape BTC always wore. It was tattered and torn. Blood pooled at Blame's feet. Paws turned to see the two figures much closer to him. Sebnus was set down next to MC, who seemed to be, if anything, melting. He couldn't heal like Sev had done, or he wouldn't let himself accept death, even though he was staring it right in the face. Paws realized that his eyes had been wide open, not even blinking, and going dry. Paws blinked, and he was back in the cold Cobble infirmary. Chad had gone silent after wailing for hours on end when a terrible noise racked his ears. Paws blinked again. This time Sevidus was much closer to him. Sev? Paws asked, not surprised, but confused. Did you die? Sev asked calmly. No, I was just sitting in the... Paws blinked once again. Infirmary. Chad was completely silent now. Paws had figured it out. He blinked. Okay. Sev's hands were on Paws' shoulders now. I know what's going on. Paws leapt to his feet, feeling like he knew everything in that moment. His eyelids didn't close naturally when he clapped in front of his own face. Paws looked back to Seth. His eyes were a snowy white, pupils and all. What do my eyes look like? Normal. Sev stared at Paws. His eyes had the usual black-brown pupil where before, I guess, where Seth had seen, where odd, this makes no sense, where Seth had seen this odd void that had nothing but empty whiteness. Oh, it was supposed to be black. Okay, this makes no sense. Paul's eyes are normal now. Where are you when you close your eyes? Seth shook paws with excitement. I've been in the infirmary, which is really just a random room in Evers's castle. Tell me everything that's happened since MC died. Sev had a rather odd expression on his face, one of both fear and curiosity. Paws told Sevidus everything he knew about what had happened. Bling Towers being completely melted down, moving into Nebras's castle, Chad's crazy stunt, and Milby upsetting him later, Etho returning with a half-dead Seth, and then the unexpected swear he had yelled out. Vex finding Avidia, then attempting to comfort Chad and failing miserably. And of course, the disturbing noise that was so loud it shook the ground. Sev's immediate response was, tell Chad I'm okay. Let him know we can figure this out. And paused to just that. Blink. Chad! Vex jumped up. Vex? Okay, that's supposed to be pause, not Vex. Chad, Pause jumped up. Chad, oh my god, you won't believe this. Then it occurred to Pause that Chad might not believe him. Leave me alone. Chad curled up even tighter beneath his pile of blankets. Chad, Sev is okay. What? Chad sprung from under the sheets, then winced in pain. He really should have listened to Jacinto earlier. Where is he? Chad's face was as red as his hair, and there were clear lines of dried tears on his cheeks. Pause didn't know how to respond. He had an idea, though. One that would either work perfectly or make him look like a complete jerk. Hold my hand and close your eyes on the count of 3. Chad squeezed Pause's hand, which now only had the smallest remains of burn scars. 3, 2, 1. Both Pause and Chad snapped their eyes shut. You can open your eyes, Pause said after a moment of silence. It had worked. Chad opened his eyes slowly. Sevidus stood there, jaw fallen open. Chad was covered in blood head to toe. There was glitter around his mouth and hands, but his eyes weren't blank. They could all see the way he would die. So that's what the bottle, something to do with the bottle. Okay. Pause looked down at his arms to see burns and scars that seemingly disappear were covering him again. He was supposed to die in that fire, but something changed it. Chad looked at his hands and felt no pain. In fact, he couldn't feel anything. The blood drenching him, his broken ribs, even the ground beneath him didn't seem to accept that he was there. Chad quickly lost his balance and fell, hitting the floor with a loud thunk. Chad didn't feel any of the impact. He didn't feel when Sev dropped down next to him and pulled him into hub. You have to take him back. Sev looked at Pause worryingly. Sev, Chad's eyes are still open. Please don't leave me. You'll die. And when I'll die, I'll come here. But you'll be in pain, Chad. You have to accept death to be able to, live after death. Then I'll do that right here with you. Chad, this isn't you. Listen to what you're saying. This isn't something you do. Sev, Chad's vision blurred. He had no sense of physical feeling in this place, and that was affecting his other senses as well. Slowly, Chad stood up, relying on his other senses, which were fading quickly. Sevidus. Chad grabbed onto Pause's hand, squeezing tight as he could, for fear he would follow it. Hold my hand. Chad reached out his hand. This time, he felt when Sevidus grabbed it firmly. 3, 2... Jag says, I want to listen to more podfics by you. Oh, God. I think, yeah, definitely when this is finished, I'm not going to be reading other fics today, but I think I want to do more streams reading my other stuff. All right, 3, 2, 1. There's a lavender boy who needs your help. You aren't the first. Wait, comments. I want to see comments. Chapter 15. Let's see, how many chapters are left? Alright, there's not too many chapters left. Chapter 15. What's left? Sevidus opened his eyes. He was in the middle of what used to be Goodland. Everything was burnt down. Great, he thought. Just great. Sevidus put his hand to his chest. No heartbeat. Pause! Sevidus yelled in frustration. There was the echo of laughter in the distance. Sevidus turned. Behind him was a patch of grass, right where the Minecrackers had been when he died. Flowers were littered throughout the tiny field. The one in the center was lavender. The echoed laughter got softer. It wasn't sinister, but kind and happy. The laugh of a small child. There was a shuffling sound from behind the corner of a burnt building. The glass window was shattered. Sevidus crept towards the source of the sound. The wall of the building was covered in vines, even though the area around them was burnt, just like the grass. It was dotted with small flowers as well, and in the center, a large lavender flower, just like the one on the ground. Someone had died here. Go away. The voice was quite raspy. Sevidus stopped before rounding the corner and looked around. Everything was peaceful, calm. Sev took another step. He couldn't make out exactly what the creature talking to him was, but it definitely wasn't a humanoid one. It was the size of a 10-year-old child. It was jet black, yet its scales reflected the little sunlight in the small alleyway with incredible radiance. It had a chunky tail, purple spines flowing along its back, stunning wings, one that, even though they were folded shut, were magnificent and beckoned Sevidus closer. I always wanted to be a dragon, the creature sighed, not bothering to give context. In the end, I got my deal. Not exactly what I imagined, though. The creature turned its head, revealing its snout, sharp horns, bright purple eyes. Sevidus recognized it now, even though it looked nothing like who the creature once was. I didn't give him a chance to tell me the catch before he transformed. He then laughed and told me I got what I asked for. I could turn into a dragon. Couldn't turn back. Okay, this is... You're supposed to be alive. Last I heard, you were perfectly fine. That imposter is, but not me. Okay, to explain. It's like Fanon, that Nebris has, connections to the end in dragons. And so, in this, Nebris, wanted the power to transform into a dragon. And, this is what happened. Okay. He was, tricked by his, future alternate self. Ear itches a lot. 1 second. Sorry. Alright, stay back. Alt Etho grabbed the back of Etho's vest. Etho responded by unzipping it, slipping his arms out, and then running up to the castle. He stopped below the balcony. Just as he looked up, the sound stopped. Etho clenched his fists, then ran inside towards the stairs. What he saw wasn't what he expected. Vex was fighting a duplicate of himself with just his fists. Alt Vex dodged Vex's attacks with ease, taunting him. Jag says, I think that Neb is kind of sus. Neb is always kind of sus. Alt Vex dodged Vex's attacks with ease, taunting him with silly faces in between. It's silly, fighting someone who knows all your moves. Those really were some lucky shots you got back then. The sun was setting, turning the clouds above shades of red and orange. We may be both gods, but we can still feel pain. We may be both gods, but we can still feel pain. Vex panted, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. And no matter how much I have to... Jag says, it's actually very good for fanfiction, especially for Wattpad. Thank you. How much I have to take, I'll make sure you feel it too. Alt Vex laughed. I made a boy scream so loud he died. Can you do that, Vex? Can you do that, Davian? Nebris's heart jumped the second he saw that there were 2 Ethos before him. One grabbed the other, but they managed to run off. The one left standing there turned his head. He stared straight at Nebris, who then laughed. Hello, old friend. Nebris stepped forward, not caring about the other, extremely confused Minecrackers around him. Die. Etho didn't move. I've seen what you've done, even when you try. No, you're just playing a game of what if. This isn't going back in time. You think I don't know that? Nebris continued to get closer, a smile on his face. The light breeze throughout the area started to pick up speed. If you get close enough, I'll kill you here. I'll kill you here and now. You let so many die because of this. You didn't even try to keep other things from spiraling In, Etho eyed the destroyed bling towers. Coward. Nebris then brought forth the power of the glitch. 1 second he was standing in front of Etho. Next he was sitting on top of a pillar made from stone and dirt that had seemingly shot out of the ground. It's not like I didn't know you were following me. It was quite amusing, actually. You cowering in that little hut in the forest, watching me? Come down here and fight me. I'll show you amusing. Etho looked up at Nebris, scowling, but then he saw something that changed that anger to fear. Hi, Neblykins. Ari was right behind Nebris. Really think you could cheat your way out of this one? She laughed. Pack didn't know what had hit him. Good had pretended to go along with him, but then forced him out with one surge of mental strength. Pack found himself laying back on the ground, Good walking off towards Spawn. Pack got up, frustrated. He needed to find someone mentally weak if he wanted to communicate. Seth was alone in the infirmary, but he didn't know it. Paws and Chad, both seemingly passed out on Chad's bed, had made him think otherwise. They were asleep, though, and that gave Seth the chance to lift up his shirt and finally see how bad his injury was. The bandage around his chest had been completely soaked through with blood. Now that it had dried, the bandage was a mix of crusty brown and red. Seth was having trouble remembering what had happened in the past day. Everything since he drank what seemed like a perfectly fine cup of water was a huge blur. So yeah, Seth drank acid. And he survived because of weird code thing, which is like I never fully explained in this fic and don't know exactly what it's supposed to mean. It's complicated. Seth let his shirt fall back over his body, then he got up. It took him a minute to get his balance, but just as he was about to let go of the side of his bed, 1,000 things seemed to happen at once. Paws and Chad both woke up. Chad let out a loud sigh. His hand closed around the bottle of pink powder hanging from his neck. Paws sprang to his feet and ran out the door. The sound of yelling came from above. There was a loud rumble, and the ground shook for a second, as if a piece of it had been torn out. There was silence, and then a crude laugh that made Seth feel sick. Paw's brain didn't even register anything as he came out into Spawn. He didn't even bat an eye as he ran right past a slew of ribbons, feet away from him. All he saw was Goodland in the distance. He blocked out the calls of his name and continued to sprint towards his destruction. Before he knew it, he was standing before the destruction that used to be Goodland. Paws stood in the same place that he had been 3 days before. Had it only been 3 days? It felt like it had been over a year. So many choices he had to make, ones that it could have brought him down such different paths. Paws didn't know what he was looking for, but he knew it was here. He heard someone whimper. Someone whisper. Look over there. What is it? Paws. The voices were coming from all around him. They were barely loud enough to make out. Hello? Paws called. His voice echoed off bare, broken walls. A ghostly figure now stood in front of him. It was a dragon. Can someone explain what's going on? Nebris yelled. They're time travelers, Arcus answered, his eyes darting back and forth as Nebris skillfully dodged lavender ribbons flying at him from all directions. How do you know? Kurt was watching as well. Arcus was silent. Take a weapon. Zista's arms were full of weapons. No one was sure where he got them from, but they didn't hesitate to snatch them up. Beef! Michael, you two go inside and make sure everyone there is okay. Doc started to give orders, and the Mindcrackers followed them, for no one was going to try and steal the lead in such peril. The sky was so thickly covered in clouds the last remaining light of the day was swallowed up before the sun could finish setting. Time moved in unnatural ways, but no one seemed to notice. R81 was collapsing in on itself. The time lock was unstable, just as Nebris had planned for so long. He was going to fix this once and for all. It was sad he'd have to indirectly kill the boy who had loved him, so much after he followed him for 20 years. Why did Etho, who's like 40, why does he call him a boy? Who had loved him so much, followed him for 20 years in the process. They really didn't belong together anyways. At least not in most timelines. H55 was the special case. Oh boy. Chapter 16. Hell. As if this entire fanfiction hasn't been that. Chad stood with a diamond sword in his hand. It glowed with enchantments. The bottle on a chain around his neck was empty. Ari stopped suddenly, and all the ribbons along with her. Alright, so that's what he did. They put the glitter on like the sword. Nebris was taken by surprise and fell off his pillar of stone and dirt. He caught himself about halfway down, hanging on with only one hand. Ari turned slowly, her eyes fixed on Chad. They widened, but the flow of time was beyond broken. Chad was suddenly behind Ari, impossible, seeing she was held high up in the air by hundreds of ribbon. He slashed his sword, the one that didn't belong in this time. It sliced through her hair and left a deep cut on the bottom of her neck, just below the place where the ribbons were. Chad then started to fall. Gotcha! Vex, who had been in the balcony, grabbed Chad as he fell past. He laughed, then threw Chad towards Vex. Chad got on his hands his knees and started to cough up glitter. Yep, he choked. Beef was right. Just important to her. just glitter. Just glitter. Altvex picked up the shimmering sword. Placebos are powerful things. The smile on his face grew wider, but so are broken timelines. Altvex raised the sword and then drove it straight through Chad's back. As he drew it out, Chad collapsed, his eyes wide open. Time caught up again, and Ari turned her attention to Alt Etho, who stood on the ground, a mixture of anger and fear in his eyes. Nebris had already left for the glitch. This timeline was going to die, alongside everything inside of it. Everything inside along with it. See ya, Davian. Alt-Vex disappeared in a flurry of code. Vex couldn't do anything. He knew how to exit the glitch, but entering it was something else entirely. You're not coming with me, Vex. Nebris didn't even turn around. Oh, come on, we're friends, right? Vex's smile didn't falter. No, we're not. Nebris still didn't move. Vex's smile finally fell. No one likes you anymore, and no one ever will. Not only did you fail at being a god, you failed at being a human. I would tell you to go die, but sadly that can't happen. Maybe go do your job for once. Nebris waited, and Vex turned and left. Okay, these are all Vex and Nebris. I should have made that clear. Or maybe this is the actual Vex. This is confusing. Okay. So, definitely Alt Nebris. Not sure which Vex this is. Chad. Vex kneeled down next to him. Alt Vex returned. That is Alt Vex. He no longer wore his goggles. His face was no longer plastered with a fake smile. Do your fucking job for once, Davian. Alt Vex bent down and took Chad's hand and picked him up. He was still breathing, yet his eyes were rolled back in their sockets. Were both petty excuses for gods. Alt Vex's smile returned. Maybe you can fix that, he paused. The truth is, I'm too far gone, and I know it. Alt Vex, sword in one hand, Chad in the other, let go of both, then sped at Vex. He grabbed him by the collar of his shirt, then pulled them both into the glitch. What are you doing? Vex yelled. Goodbye, or should I say... Oh, so that was relevant. That having two of the same person in the glitch. Vex found himself lying on the floor of Nebris' house in the glitch. Hello, he whispered. Why does he say that? Okay. Memories fought and conflicted, doubles of them fighting. The glitch was outside all timelines. Its only response to having two of the same person was to treat them as one. Alt Vex had known this perfectly well. Vex put his hand to his chest and felt his heartbeat. He had expected pain, anger, fear, but all he felt was sadness. I want to go home, Vex thought aloud. So do I, Nebris yelled. He had been standing facing the wall, yet still aware of what had happened just behind him. Tears streamed down his face. I just want to go home. He started the sob and hit his fists against the wall. Every other time lock is broken, every single one, but this one won't even crack. Nebris slammed his body against the wall and fell to the ground where he curled up in a ball, sniffling. There's nothing to do. Death is just eternal boredom. The glitch is loneliness and life is hell. Tears started to fall from Vex's eyes as well. There was nothing they could do. Chad was the only one who managed to hurt Ori the entire battle. He was also the first to die. It happened seconds after Vex had left him. A video was next, leaving Ko sobbing. Zistu got mad and charged. He was gone before he even brought down his sword. This time he wouldn't have a second chance. Ari got inside. Seth's eyes widened in fear. They grew even more terrified when he found Lavender to be a one-time use. Milby welcomed death with open arms. He wanted to be with MC again. Beef and Michael found Jason out, but Ari did too. They all died quickly. Co-Star didn't even notice when he was torn apart. He was already in a much worse pain. Etho fought back with all he had, but it wasn't enough. So there's just montage of them getting killed. Ari laughed and went outside again. This is now a game of hide and seek, and the punishment for being found was death. What a line! This is now a game of hide and seek, and the punishment for being found was death. Amazing. Anders wasn't good at this game. Bash and Doc weren't too hard to find either, seeing they had made the mistake of hiding together. Good couldn't stop himself from crying aloud. If he had been silent, he could have lived for another full minute. Kurt was clever, but not clever enough. This is just me not wanting to, give proper death scenes to everyone. Ari was sure to gouge... What is this gouache? It's supposed to say gouge. Gouge out both his eyes, finishing what she failed to do at first before killing him. Pyro and Arcus made the mistake of sticking together. Arcus's last move was to press his lips... What? Press his lips to Pyro. Pyro didn't even have time to return the kiss. I didn't know that this was the ship that I shipped. Okay, what? This ship makes no sense. Literally, I think the only reason I must have shipped them is that they're both they're the two youngest Minecrafters. And they're close in age. Stormday, this is MCC to get to the other side. Chat message, death messages, just more gruesome. And then Jack says, it's satisfying to my not-so-secret love of gore. Okay. I'm just literally, I didn't... I guess people shipped them enough for me to put this in the fic, because I don't remember shipping them myself. Okay. The gems didn't get the chance to even see the ribbon that sliced his head off before it did so. Then Ari turned to Alt Etho, who had been standing, watching her, paralyzed with fear. Ribbon shot out at him. They all went straight through his heart, until it was nothing but blood. Nebris was the only word that left his mouth. The only comment is from me. What? Okay. Let's see how many chapters are left. There's still 3 chapters and the epilogue. So, what are you trying to do? What are you going to do? Vex asked. Try again, Nebris sighed. Maybe I can find a way to physically open a rift faster than I can by jumping through all these loops. So are we just going to leave this timeline with the giant hole in it, risk it leaking to others? I don't know. What else can I do? Packrat had watched everything he knew and loved die. He was about to do something incredibly stupid. He tried to possess Ori. He was thrown out after less than a second. Don't you know? You can't possess something twice. The ribbon laughed. Realization sparked in Ari's eyes. These weren't her actions. This doesn't make sense. She knew these weren't her actions. She was possessed. Okay, whatever. Who gave her the ribbon? Vex's eyes widened. Nebris looked at Vex. The same look in his eyes as the one Alt Etho had given him when Ari had appeared behind him. Who gave her the ribbon? Who gave her the ribbon? Nebris's mind was going 100 miles an hour. I've seen her take it. I've seen the note. In my own timeline, Vex. That's where I actually saw her pick up the ribbon for the first time. She fucking showed it off to me. Why was that the only timeline that happened? Nebris, are you thinking time travel? No, not just timeline hopping like we've been doing. Who do you... Oh, no. Oh, no. Nebris now had even greater fear in his eyes. Etho. Nebris. Vex knew exactly what was coming. Information from the 2 different lives collided. Nebris! Nebris was already gone. This was going to be the stupidest thing he'd ever done. He had no idea if it would actually work. Nebris pushed Etho out of the way. Nebris, Etho yelled. Ribbons shot through Nebris's heart, turning it to mush. Nebris! Etho yelled. I know what I'm doing! Nebris was also behind Etho. What? I'll explain later. Nebris grabbed Etho's hand and started running. Packrat, don't you fucking dare! He yelled at seemingly nothing. They kept running. Goodland, clearly their destination. Ari was right behind them. She stabbed Nebris through the brain this time. Third time's the charm, right? Nebris even seemed to laugh as he grabbed Etho yet again. Oh, more like the 300th time I've said that. Vex realized he didn't have much time left. He quickly threw himself out of the glitch. Vex fell to the ground and started to cough. Alt-Vex kicked his side. I thought I could bring us to an understanding. You're just sad. What are you planning to do? Vex rolled over. Let you know what I'm thinking before I make it permanent. What? I am literally out of my mind. You made me realize that. You're incompetent. Dumb, even. Together we could actually function as a sane being. This works in your favor. You want to go home, right? Yeah. Then let's glitch out the glitch. You ready? I don't think I'll ever be ready, Vex shrugged. Alt-Vex grabbed him and shoved them both into the glitch, a smile on his face. A real one. Not the fake, over-the-top smile. Top wide one he wore to accessorize his insanity. Oh! Nebris and Etho reached Goodland. Paz was on the ground, passed out in front of them. A ghostly image of a dragon was dive-bombing right at Nebris. You imposter! He yelled. Even though he wasn't on in this plane of existence, his voice broke through as if he was yelling right there. Ugh, Nebris sighed as the dragon flew right through him. Samus! The code word is red. Write it somewhere. What? A faint whisper asked. Just do it, okay? Etho had no idea why he was trusting Nebris on this. Storm chases me and the boys on a Friday night, accessorizing our insanity. Alright. Just do it, okay? Etho had no idea why he was trusting Nebris on this, but there wasn't much else he could do anymore. Servetus carved the word red into the dirt below him and disappeared. What did you do? The dragon yelled, even louder this time. Calm the fuck down, Nebris summoned a storm of code. You were never fucking dead. The dragon became clearer, suddenly passing through to the world they were in now. Change me back. Now, the dragon snarled. A ribbon then shot out, landing right between them. Don't you fucking dare, Pack. I know what happens. Nebris yelled at nothing once again, just like he did at Spawn. Now, Nebris, shut the fuck up. If I didn't do anything, both of us would both be dead. Both of us would be dead. I'm sorry I hijacked your timeline, but not doing this would kill time itself. Nebris sent another swarm of code at the dragon, and this time he started to change. Nebris was left there, fell over, wincing, pain. Oh, you did hit your head, though. Nebris was interrupted by his alt yelling. Nebris was interrupted by his alt yelling. Pack, now! Packrat had no idea how Nebris knew what he had been planning, or was able to even see him, but he dived right as Ari, just to be thrown right out again. Don't you know? Oh my god. I'm just realizing I did not remember this. Alright, right again. Don't you know? You can't possess something twice, the ribbon laughed. The realization sparked in Ari's eyes. Run, Nebris yelled, grabbing both Etho and the other Nebris, pulling them both at speeds achievable only through cheats. Okay, this is not explained well. The time travel here. Holy shit. This is way more clever than I remember. What about Paz? Are you kidding me? He's been dead for days. What? Come on. Packrat watched, not sure what emotion he was feeling, as he watched Ari's expression went from confusion to fear to anger. The ribbon had crawled into her brain, making her think the actions taken were actually hers to choose. No! The ribbon yelled. One second. The ribbon yelled from Ari's mouth. Let go of me! Ari yelled, and those words truly hers. The ribbon grabbed Pack from the air. Alright, one was about to break once and for all. Different planes of existence merged, and the ribbon killed a demon. Nebris had 3 seconds to make his action. Keep running. Die. 3, Go to the glitch. Either merge or straight out kill your alt. 2. Kill another timeline. 1. Do what you do best. Hold on tight. Oh, Lavender Boys. They're so silly, aren't they? What does this line mean? Okay. I don't know how to explain what this time travel thing was. But it was like different than the timeline jumping. Oh my god. Oh, holy shit. Okay. There's no comments on this part. Let's go. Chapter 18. Tick-tock goes the clock. Amazing chapter name. Nebris kept running. Those 3 seconds seemed to drag on forever. Then Nebris realized that they were. They looped over and over again, and Nebris found himself in the same place over and over again. Forever. Nebris summoned code. The glitch didn't open for him. What's going on? Etho yelled. Nebris didn't have the time to respond before those last 2 seconds repeated infinitely. Nebris tore open the timeline. Time was frozen. Wait. He stopped Etho and his alt from going through. The time lock is still in place, but that doesn't mean I can't go in before it. Etho, the timeline will be relatively stable for about 24 hours with the flow of time from this other one flowing into it. You stay in this time and keep an eye on him. Why would I trust you? Etho threw a punch at Nebris. Nebris dodged with ease. There's an hour before time catches up to you. Better start running. And with that, Nebris stepped through the rip and into timeline J87. This is where the time lock ended, right before the ribbon attacked pause. Nebris resisted the urge to push everyone back and keep them from what he knew was to come if he didn't. Nebris sighed and started to turn back time. He couldn't get inside the time lock. Nebris skipped right over it and into the past. Before Ari had gotten back from her mining trip, there were 4 things that happened in the time lock. Ribbon would possess Ori, Vex would be decapitated, BTC would be killed, and Ori would make her way to Goodland. Every timeline, this happened one way or another. Nebris was going to take a different approach. It wouldn't save the 3 whose destinies were trapped inside time. Nebris questioned why he hadn't done this before. Because he was scared, he thought, and he knew he still was. Attempt 1. 6 a.m. Nebris decided to turn back time to the start of the day, just as the sun rose. He burst into Vex's face. Hey, Vex! He yelled. No answer. Nebris stormed into Vex's room and shook him awake. Nebris? What? Vex asked groggily. Put on your fucking goggles and look at me. Nebris, it's 6 a.m. Vex rolled over. Nebris grabbed Vex's goggles and shoved them at him. Fine. Vex put on his goggles. Well, that's new. His eyes darted back and forth, taking in all the information. We have a time lock situation, the ribbon is back, and it's chosen Ari as its target. Nebris didn't give Vex time to respond. Lock down your base and don't let anyone in, especially Ari. I have no idea how strong this timeline is, but I temporarily broke everyone in existence about 10 minutes ago, and this is the only one that stayed closed. What about the other? I'll handle it. Just do what I say. 6:13 a.m. Nebris felt no emotion when he set Goodland ablaze. To him it was already gone. The flames boiled up, the creak of wood, and the collapse of a building. The fire would burn all day. 6:37. After spending some time messing around with an old camera, Nebris trapped the demon in a photo. Sadly, I don't have a code for you, Shri. Oh my god, I forgot this! So the demon is supposed to be Shri, who is a mindcracker who left. Oh my god, I forgot about this. He sighed, stuffing the photo in his pocket. Nebris's mind raced, realizing he could go back even further and fix all the bad things that had ever happened. Yet he still had the current situation to deal with. 6:45. Nebris stole Aurelian's alarm clock and smashed it to pieces. He wasn't going to risk anything. 7:02. Nebris completely barricaded his base, making it impossible to leave without the powers he possessed. He left a note for Nebris J87. He wasn't sure if he knew any more than R81 had, which was basically nothing. The note simply read, sorry. He wasn't going to pull a stupid dimension freaking stunt like he did in the last timeline. 7:30. A few of the mindcrackers were milling around spawn. Nebris walked past Seth casually, trying not to draw suspicion. You're up early. Seth's hands, though shoved in his pockets, were clearly covered in redstone dust. There's some important stuff I need to do. Nebris shrugged. See you later. See ya. They went in their separate directions. Then Nebris realized he had no idea what he would be doing normally. He had spent the last 20 years of his life fighting. He decided to go to the town hall, where he waited. In the back of the town hall were multiple binders, full of written records and pictures of many different things. Nebris opened one labeled 3 to a random page. It was a picture of Beef's castle, completely covered in vines. Nebris couldn't help but smile. He flipped to another page. This one had a detailed account of the e-pranks that had happened up to that point of time, along with pictures. The next page is a guide to some redstone contraption. Nebris didn't bother to wipe away tears as he flipped through the book, a grin on his face the entire time. 8:46. Before he knew it, Nebris had spent over an hour looking through the scrapbooks of memories. With a sigh, he put the binders he'd scattered on the floor away, wiped away tears, and walked outside. He was greeted by Pyro, half asleep, lugging an overstuffed bag behind him. Hey, Pyro yawned. Need help? Nebris asked. For once he had plenty of time to kill, and it wasn't literal. Pyro was about to answer, but was interrupted by Packard running down the path from Goodland. Guys, Goodland, huge fire! Packard gasped for breath. It took Pyro a minute to register what Pack had just said, but Nebris was quick to fake a reaction. What happened? Nebris asked, convincing concern in his voice. I don't know. Gotta get help. Jasino, he'll know what to do. Pack was still breathing heavily. I'll go find him. Pyro blurted out and dropped his bag and ran off. Nebris sighed. It's no use. Trust me. 9:37. Nebris watched as Ari left her house in a hurry, pick in hand. Once she was gone, Nebris sat and waited. 7 p.m. Nebris left the ribbon right where Ari would... Vex left the ribbon right where Ari would see it, on her door, with a big note and a big smile on his face. Yeah! Chapter 19. The Truth. Vex laughed. He had finally had the power he'd starved for. 100 souls, all his own. Sad he couldn't done this earlier, convinced more to join him, but he always knew he had gone there eventually. The time lock was marked with the magic of a god. The Alpha timeline was now his to access. Nebris, a puny dimension shifter with one soul, had nothing on him. Vex, for once in the longest of times, felt something they hadn't felt since before he had found he was a god. He didn't know what it was, but it wouldn't keep him back. He stepped into the Alpha timeline, the place of a time lock creation with ease. 7 p.m. Vex tied the ribbon, a soulless creature, alive nor dead, to Ari's door. He placed his note. The ribbon turned from white to lavender, the code to live. Vex could see every timeline in existence at this moment. Most are the same, some are completely different, but in one he saw something wrong. Nebris, H55. Though through Vex's eyes he was obscured by millions of overlapping timelines, Nebris saw what was in timeline J87. Yet Vex was in every one. Nebris was about to run right at him. Then he stopped. He stopped to cry. The emotion Vex felt grew even more powerful. Before he closed the time lock, he added one thing that hadn't been on the list. Nebris stood there, with tears flowing, blurring his vision. No. What? No, no! Vex screamed. I'm not just a dimension shaper, Vex. I'm the keeper of the glitch, Vex. Vex. Vex! For some reason, Vex couldn't stand hearing Nebris yell his name. Vex Davian. Nebris walked right past Vex and pulled the ribbon from the door. You may be a time god, but if there's one thing I've learned in the past few hours, it's that dimensions are what hold everything together, including time. This is crazy. Nebris let the ribbon fuse with his skin. It wrapped around his right arm, tearing through to his brain. Your time lock is nothing but a glitch, Vex. Nebris' soul shattered. Vex was stunned. Nebris had pushed his way into the Alpha timeline with sheer force. He pushed his way in. No magic. Just walked right through. The ribbon now had a body of her own. It was unrecognizable as Nebris's. He no longer existed. The ribbon stared at Vex, eyes empty of any emotion. You run. Vex ran. Etho knew something was wrong when he saw time rewrite itself right in front of his eyes. Time shifted within every timeline, pushing and pulling at every turn. He found himself alone, something in his hands. Glass. When someone reached out and screamed his name, He didn't belong here. With the last second, he used a power he didn't know he had. The true meaning of Minecraft wasn't what he previously thought. He still had a lot to learn. Sadly, his soul was crushed under the effect of time being rewritten around him, and he lost his chance. Ari returned to her base. There was a mark on the door, like something had been ripped off out of it carelessly. She thought nothing of it. Besides, it had been there for all of time, even without her knowing. Another thing she didn't realize she'd done is she didn't realize she'd done this before in this very timeline. Alright, 1. Entry 1. No one knows what happens when souls are destroyed. When a sentient creature dies, their souls go to the void, but when a soul is gone, there is no code to come back. If creatures can exist without souls, of course, but they are essentially heartless as well. There needs to be balance. 1 heart and 2 souls creates chaos. So, where do the soulless go to die? Entry 2. What the fuck is with demons in gray sweaters? They always have them, no matter what the original person was wearing. And why do the demons end up looking like the one they turned into a demon when they die? They also just turn to dust and fade away when they're found out? I'm so confused. This is just me, taking the weird plot holes and, having someone be like, what the hell is going on? I don't know what's going on either. Entry 3. What's the deal with Minecraft? Everyone there has powers unimaginable, yet only a few of them know it themselves. There's that fucking thing they always say to each other. There's a lot you don't know about Minecraft. I'm surprised someone like you hadn't found out the truth about this place already. Yet they don't even know the truth themselves. No one does. Entry 4. Why me? Entry 5. Hell. The code of broken death. Fear. Torture. Entry 6. That's why it's called the truth? Why? Okay. Epilogue. R81. This is the final reason. It had been 4 days since the time lock broke. Even though everything was as normal, everyone felt like they were forgetting something. Good called a meeting. Everyone sat down in town hall, unusually silent. The Minecrackers were all grieving for something they didn't know. Finally, Vex spoke up. I'm not keeping any secrets anymore. Silence. I'm a timekeeper. At least I used to be one. I've done quite a bad job of it. Nor silence. No one questioned Vex. I've lived for thousands of years. These goggles let me see everything I could ever want to know about any of you. They let you see their name, a dimension, age, and their crimes. Oh, okay. Vex took his goggles off. I regret not doing this sooner. He then smashed both lenses and threw the broken goggles into the middle of the circle where they sat. We all have powers, you know. That's why we ended up here. Vex, Ari, who was sitting next to him, put her hand on his shoulder. Hearing his own name, bore down into Vex's head. Yep, Vextavian, that's me. Old legends told of great heroes who would destroy the 3 great evils of the world. A creature with too many souls, a creature with none, and a creature with those shattered. But that's a story for another time. And that's it, folks! Yeah, actually, I had planned a sequel to this, but I never ended up writing it. So the creature with too many souls is the Vex who fused with himself from different timelines. Creature with none is the ribbon, and a creature with those shattered is this weird amalgamation of Alt Nebris and Alt. No, not Alt Nebris. It's a weird. It with those shattered is Alt Etho. Okay, yeah, because Alt Nebris is the ribbon. Now, at least. So yeah, but I never wrote that sequel. I'm never going to, probably, because, dear God, whoo, this fic has a lot of gore, a lot of shipping, and, yeah. So yeah, it's been 3 hours. Thank y'all so much for coming. I'm amazed that some of y'all actually stayed throughout this whole thing. No, sequel writing stream? I don't think so, but I definitely, in the future, want to do more streams where I, read my other fanfics, because I have these, 2 journal things. I have a ton of 2 different things of one-shots. This unfinished thing, and then a ton of unfinished thing. This is supposed to be the sequel, but there's, nothing written for it. And then, a ton of unfinished things or things that were, unpublished. This, I don't remember what's in this fic at all, so I'm excited to read this. So I think maybe that we'll do that one next time, or a few one-shots. But yeah, Thank y'all so much for coming. This was I expected to just be like complete embarrassment this whole time, but it was actually fun to read this as it went through. So yeah, where's OBS? Here you go. And I'll try and save the VOD as unlisted on my YouTube channel. If yeah. Bye.